Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Your weekly dose of romance and drama has arrived. Season 29 of The Bachelor is here, and Grant Ellis, certified hottie and former day trader, is trading his day job on Wall Street for a second chance at everlasting love. New episodes drop every Monday at 8/7 Central, bringing you fresh twists in Grant's journey to find his soulmate. This self-proclaimed mama's boy is all grown up and ready to invest his heart. Will his playful charm win over the house full of hopefuls, or will the competition prove too intense? From heartfelt moments to adrenaline-pumping dates, each week brings new surprises in the mansion. Will Grant find his perfect match or end up with a broken heart? Tune in every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu for new episodes of The Bachelor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Crime in Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy edition of Crime in Sports. And this is a part two of an old-timey baseball player. He did so much dumb stuff that he needs two parts. And part two is just the absolute downhill. He is
great
in full speed downhill at this point. He's halfway down the mountain, so it's a lot of fun to get into. Before we do that, just want to say, shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get anything show-related, merch, anything from coffee cups to skateboards. They are at the site. Also, tickets for Small Town Murder live shows for the rest of the year. If you want to get in on those, I would suggest getting in on it pretty quickly because shows are selling out. Possible. There's a show in November that's already sold out, so I would definitely do that. Also, the 420 virtual live show. Want to see some crazy smoking apparatus and watch Jimmy's reaction to it as I force him to smoke out of it?
And hear a crazy story.
You can add a crazy story on top of that. That's obvious. You're going to hear an awesome live show, and you're going to get that as well. You're going to certainly want to get the 420 virtual live show. Tickets for that go on sale February 22nd. So do that. I had to think. I was like, what's Jimmy's birthday? Yes, that's right. I remembered your birthday more than the date, so that's good.
I will turn 43, and you guys can buy tickets.
Do that, please. It's a good birthday present for Jimmie there.
It is, yeah.
Another thing.
Best thing you can give me.
Well, another thing would be Patreon. That's the thing you definitely want. Patreon.com/Crime in Sports is where you get all the bonus material. Like the show, you'll love the bonus material.
You bet.
All you have to do is $5 a month or above. A cup of coffee, a mere cup of coffee.
So affordable.
And we are going to absolutely give you your money's worth with a couple hundred episodes, back episodes that you can immediately binge, and new episodes every other week. One Crime in Sports, one Small Town Murder, and you get all of it, goddammit.
It's not cheap, it's a bargain.
That's what I'm talking about. Don't use the word cheap now. It's not cheap, it's just thrifty. So do that, and you will get this week for Crime in Sports. We're going to talk about Paul Sasso, who, if you remember on the owner criminal episode of Patreon, this was a guy that had so much that he needed his own episode because he's a gangster. He was a mobster from the 70s who owned a football team, and it is hilarious. So we'll talk about that. Then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about the weirdness of the entire Natalia Grace situation here. Was she a poor 6-year-old Ukrainian disabled girl, or was she a
monster?
Sociopathic, crazy person trying to take down a family? Who knows?
We're about to find out.
We'll find out. And I also want to find out, how does the dad make tears pop out of his eyes like they're coming out of catapults. That's an interesting
like a
thing.
Cartoon character.
We'll talk about that, and that is all at patreon.com/CrimeinSports, and you'll get a shout-out at the end of the show. Jimmie will mess up your name. He doesn't want to, but he will. So
yeah.
There's a pretty good chance of it. Let's just put, especially if your name is Italian. That's really... That's the one that really gets him.
Ethnic except for Spanish, because I grew up around it, so
yeah,
I'm familiar with that.
You can understand, yeah.
Any other way, I'll ruin it.
The Eastern European names are fun, too.
Oh,
C's and Z's. Oh, man, his eyes glaze over. It's fun. So check all that out and do that. That said, damn it, let's get into this, because we got
Let's go.
Whole lot of fun here. Now, we left off, old Prince Hal Chase is who we're talking about. We left off with him in 1919, where he was just signed by the New York Giants at the time, the pre-San Francisco Giants. And at the same time, they hired McGraw as manager and got Christy Matthews in there to be a coach. And both of those guys had testified against him like a month earlier against Prince Hal Chase in a game-fixing thing. So now they're on the same team. And also, apparently when he got to the Giants, he immediately tried to bribe 3 other players to throw games as soon as he got there. So you can tell this is going to go very well for him, obviously.
It's already going great.
And 1919, as we talked about, that's the pinnacle year of dirty game throwing shit, because that's the Black Sox scandal. That's baseball's big black eye. That's the reason Pete Rose still isn't in the Hall of Fame, is because they're still stinging over 1919, because it was only 105 years ago. So that's So the 1919 Giants, 87-53, which is good for second in the National League, which got you absolutely nothing back then. Nothing at all back then. That would get you... a
few more wins gets you the World Series, but nothing where you're at.
Not even a ticket to the World Series, probably.
No.
Just nothing. Wasn't on TV or anything back then. There was no TV. So after McGraw, the manager, found out about the actions of 2 of the players, Zimmerman and Chase, that he had bribed to throw games, Hal, they suspended Zimmerman, but Chase did not get suspended for some reason. He remained with the Giants for the rest of the season, and there was tons of rumors and speculation about Hal and this Chase guy working together to throw games or, fix the lines and shit like that. So the following month, Chase's connections in the gambling world here, Hal, allowed him to profit big time because he bet on the fixed 1919 World Series. And he knew who the fix was in because he's in gambling circles. So he got to make a profit here. And somebody said, one of the gangsters here, one of the bookies, testified later on in court under oath that Hal Chase won $40,000 in bets against the White Sox. $40,000 in 1919.
Oh, my.
Think about how much fucking money that is back then. That is, I'm going to look up right now exactly what that is, because I need to know inflation.
1.2, right?
It's got to be more than that.
You think so?
Yeah, because they if you go to 1960, the money's about 10 times. If you had $1 million, it's $10 million. 1919 is a whole
40 years.
Yeah, so here we go. I got the site up here, inflation calculator.
Yeah.
We're going 1919. And we're going $40,000. Come on. Yeah. There we go. This fucking site sucks.
Enter. Yeah.
$40,000. Okay. $40,000. $704,513.29.
In one bet.
In bets on the World
In one
Series.
day.
Yeah. And that was a lot back then. I mean,
tax free.
You made like $1,000 a year back then, in working. So he really did a lot there. He did well. So McGraw ends up pulling Chase from the lineup.
Oh.
And the club announced that the first baseman is indefinitely suspended. Yeah,
really?
By both leagues.
They found out.
American and National League suspended him. But he played till September, so that's like the whole season pretty much, which is funny. And his suspension was finalized the following year by Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the guy who was put in charge of baseball, and he ended up saying that, he was suspended. So Hal that year, he hit 284. I mean, not too shabby, honestly. Pretty good year for him, especially at 36 years old at this point.
Not bad.
Yeah. And 36 back then is a way different 36 than 36 now.
Boy.
Yeah. And some of these guys are in the peak of their athleticism at 36 now. Back then,
Right.
36 was like, whew. I mean, people.
Oh, boy.
People looked half dead when they were 28 back then.
Yeah, 36 is. You better start keeping an eye on your cholesterol now will kill you
Christ.
at 36.
They were
It's already over.
They spent every day out in the sun, either on some farm when they were a kid, or then all the day games. They were always outside. People looked terrible back then.
36 in 1920, you're looking at plots.
Yeah. Oh,
and
man.
seeing which one you like best.
People are calling you, hey, old man, when you walk down the street. What the
You're
fuck?
still alive?
Yeah,
Shit.
Jesus, look at you. At 36 now, people are fucking in great shape.
Right.
Yeah. So they talk about, by the way, that's going to be his whole career because he's suspended indefinitely.
Indefinitely. He's done.
Well, yeah, he had bad timing. To get caught doing this shit in the same year as the Black Sox scandal, that was bad because they brought in the Tennessee Mountain Landis, and he did the whole, basically, if you get caught even breathing at the hint of you being a gambler, you're just done, because he was trying to restore baseball's,
But who gives a
belief
shit?
in baseball.
He made $40,000. He can retire anyway.
Yeah, he made probably 8 seasons worth of salary in one fucking World Series, so that's good. So they talk about his defense. And he was considered one of the best fielders in the game, not just at first base, but they said he could have fielded any position. They talked to him it didn't even matter. Bill James quoted a poem here, Bill James does the big baseball abstract book every year. And it says, quote, sometimes a raw recruit in the spring is not a pitching find. He has not Walter Johnson's wing nor Matty's wondrous mind. He does not act like Harold Chase upon the fielding job, but you may find in such case he hits like Tyrus Cobb. So that was his thing. So he was the guy that he mentioned as the best fielder, basically, in this poem at the time. But they also talk about, there's a book called The Black Prince of Baseball. It's a book on Hal Chase. Sure. The Black Prince of Baseball. And he's very white, so it's it's literally that he's
an ethnic thing? Yeah.
No, he's just like this specter that hangs over every team that he's on.
Like a cloud.
Everything he does is below board, and it's all just fucking schemy and scammy. So they talked about his defensive abilities, and they talk about all of his spectacular plays he made. But the problem was, it seems like he could make a spectacular play, but he was also a fuck-up, because in 10 seasons, he made 402 errors, which is terrible.
He was not a fuck-up. Those are absolutely on purpose.
Those are
gotta be.
That's the other thing, yeah. And so because he can make these spectacular plays. They said on a bunt, he could come in and wheel and throw to any base so fucking well. He's such a good fielder.
Yeah.
His career fielding average is only 980, which is 4 points below the average for the period. So we don't know how much of this is intentional, because at first base, it's very easy there's a ball in the dirt and you don't scoop it quite right, and there it goes, and you look fine, but that'll be an error on the shortstop, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that guy's safe now and a run scored. So first base is a really good position to control a lot, because you have a lot of chances for putouts. So it's suggested now, Bill James, in a recent work, suggested that Chase was only a C-minus grade defensive player at first base. They said that he was not wonderful. Was in the WAR, which is the wins above replacement, he cost his team 65 runs versus an average first baseman. So,
yeah, that's a guy that's fucking on the dole, though. On the take.
So it's impossible to know whether he was great and threw shit, or whether half the time he was hungover and was like, Christ, the ball's coming at me. I don't know.
I guess that lends to the question, James. What would you rather be, a Hall of Famer or rich?
Oh, rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'll take the errors and the gambling one.
Yeah, when I was 21, I would have said, well, Hall of Famer, obviously. You want this legend.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't fucking care about that. That's not going to comfort me in my old age. Now, because now we're over 40, we're worried about actually surviving and like having, a pot to piss in and not eating cat food when we're 75. Yeah. So now I'm like, fuck. You can
fuck Ernie Banks.
Keep your adulation and stick it right up your ass. Unless there's a dollar behind it. Fuck you. No, thank you. Yeah,
I'd rather be page. Pete Rose.
Yeah, he's still making money. So, Hal Chase. Plus, Pete Rose he always has. I'm the all-time hits leader. So that's pretty
Yeah, what are you
easy.
going to do?
Yeah, obviously I belong there. This is silly.
Yeah, I'm pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, a little bit. So on February 28th, 1920, there is in the San Francisco Bulletin newspaper, Hal Chase is reported on way home. Said he and Zimmerman missing when Giants board train on way to Texas. So that was when they both got shit canned out of there. And they said that he's reportedly on his way to California to fill a motion picture contract.
What?
Oh, yeah. He signed a fucking contract to appear in a movie, and he does. March 4th, 1920, Hal Chase jumps the Giants for movie job. That's the headline. He didn't jump the Giants. He got fucking thrown off the Giants. Yeah. But the news, what the hell? Scimitar? SCIMITAR. That's the title of this newspaper. The news.
I don't know what that is.
Fucking that word. March 4th, 1920. And it says that Hal Chase, once Prince of First Baseman, has turned his back on baseball. He's going into the movies.
Okay.
He's been thrown out indefinitely from baseball.
He didn't turn his back.
Wow.
They turned their back on him.
I didn't realize players had publicists way back then, but he fucking...
That's pretty impressive. They clearly do.
They had to have. While the advanced squad of the New York Giants got underway here for San Antonio, where they enter spring training, Chase was speeding westward toward Los Angeles to take up the silent drama. This is still silent movies. Friends of the great first baseman said today that it is highly improbable that he can be lured back to the diamond. He's so happy with movies, you're never going to get him back. Indefinitely suspended, by the way. Jesus. He's reported to have received a contract calling for more salary than he received last year, but he failed to return it to the Giants, and nothing has been heard from him personally at Giants headquarters. Again, not true. They didn't offer him a contract. He left before the season was over because he was kicked out.
Right.
Coupled with Chase's unexpected movie came the announcement that Heine Zimmerman has returned his unsigned contract to the Giants club. Heine was not among the players here because he was the other guy that got shit canned, but they didn't know that, the newspapers. It was all private. So the members of the Giants who made the advanced squad leaving New York were joined en route by other players, and still others will go on to San Antonio from their homes. Wow. So, he's going to be in movies. March 26th, 1920, there's another article. The Cody Cowboy is the name of this newspaper.
Oh.
Yeah, this is when every city had 30 daily newspapers. So It says, Hal Chase about to quit baseball game, anxious to become established in some other businesses. Wow, yeah. And it says, peerless Hal Chase has probably played his last game of baseball. Recognizing the near approach of the inevitable end of a long and sensational career, he's planning to retire from the national pastime before the opening of another season and may announce his voluntary passing at any time now. Voluntary passing. That sounds like he's going to either shit something or kill himself.
Suicide.
Yeah, one of the two. Or take a bunch of pills and fucking pass out on a daybed. Like a Victorian woman. I don't know what's going on. There's no question of failure to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the Giants involved in Chase's determination to quit the diamond. He simply realizes that he's rapidly nearing the end of his baseball rope and is anxious to become established in some other profession while he's still a comparatively young man. He has several promising propositions under consideration. He got kicked out of, he has no choice.
He has zero propositions for baseball because he's not allowed.
No, to put it in another way, Hal needs a job now because he's not allowed to play baseball anymore. That would be the better way to put it. Hal's looking for work. Anybody got anything for him? So they said Chase, barring one brief adventure with the Outlaw Federal League, the Outlaw California State League. They talk about that and everything else. They talk about how he's had some problems, but they also said that he's more bitterly maligned, somebody else is, than this slim, still boyish, and thoroughly likable Californian. So this is a hardcore fluff piece on a guy who just got suspended for gambling his entire career on baseball, for cheating constantly.
For literally cheating.
Now, and the thing about it you need to keep in mind is, based on this article right below it, or this ad right below it, I should say, do not get careless with your blood supply. You don't want to do that. You'll end up like Hal.
Slinging around willy-nilly.
No, it says impurities invite disease.
They do.
They do, yeah. You should pay particular heed to any indication that your blood supply is becoming sluggish.
Blood supply.
Just keep an eye on how quickly your blood's moving around your body, because you can really monitor that easily in 1920.
If it slows down, you won't know.
Yeah, what the fuck? That there is a lessening in its strong and vital force. Every once in a while, open up an artery, make sure it's still squirting a good distance. If you're not getting like 3 feet of spray, you probably got a problem. You're slowed down.
Yeah, you keep track of your kids with a notch on the door frame.
Yeah.
Do the same with your kitchen wall.
That's how you do it. Just blood's moving today. March 26th, blood moving. Okay.
See how far it sprays.
Wow.
Put a little mark.
Holy shit.
Wipe the blood off, mark it with permanent marker.
It's wonderful. Then he goes a little Hitler here, this ad. By keeping your blood purified, your system more easily wards off disease that is ever present, waiting to attack whenever there's an opening. A few bottles of SSS, the great vegetable blood medicine.
What vegetable blood?
So it's either blood from vegetables, which I've never heard of, or you need more vegetables in your blood, which also doesn't seem. God, I love how they knew nothing about your body back then at all.
It's fascinating, man. All these people claim to know so much about our bodies.
They knew nothing.
But we only know, in the past 100 years, we barely got any of this. We don't know shit.
We know more than any doctor did back then, and we're idiots. Me and you.
We still know nothing.
We're morons. We know nothing. If we told doctors some of the shit we know back then, they'd go, oh my God, this is amazing. Jesus. So this vegetable blood medicine, vegetables, I like that better, will revitalize your blood and give you new strength and a healthy, vigorous vitality. Make your dick hard, too, is what that sounds like. Everyone needs to know, everyone needs it just now. This is a hard to read old article, old ad, to keep the system in perfect condition. Go to your drugstore and get a bottle today. And if you need any medical advice, you can obtain it without cost by writing to Medical Director Swift Specific Company in some laboratory in Atlanta.
Swift, what was company? They're just giving medical advice through the mail.
Yeah, you write us, and then we'll have somebody write you back about it. Don't worry about it. And this is like 6 weeks, and this is taking forever.
Through the mail
in 1920.
Yeah, that's a good point. If somebody's really fucked up, they're going to die by the time they get an answer back anyway, so it's fine.
12 weeks later. Like, do I take the vegetable blood or not? Oh, my God. So, June 9th, 1920, this is from the Evening Star. Chase and Schneider deny implication in McGee case is the headline here. Hal Chase, in a statement issued here, said there was, quote, absolutely no truth in the statement of Lee McGee made on the witness stand in Cincinnati that McGee and Chase in July 1918 bet $500 on the Cincinnati Baseball Club to win from Boston. That seems right in character with Chase.
Sure does, yeah.
Chase, who is playing, now he's, I guess, currently at some point signed on with the San Jose Club of the California Mission League. So now he's playing that league. He said, I was exonerated of all charges of betting by the National Commission after it made a full investigation. I do not know what McGee did at the time of the game he mentioned, but I do know that I did not place any bets.
Really?
So there's that. Absolutely. Bullshit. Now, Schneider, on the other hand, Pete Schneider, he said he denies that he was implicated with Lee McGee and Hal Chase in a plan to have Boston defeat Cincinnati while he was a member of the Reds. He said prior to the game in question, Sherwood McGee told him that he had better be careful, as McGee understood that some of the Cincinnati players were betting on Boston. Schneider said that, he said, quote, if that's so, I won't work today. So that's how it went. And McGee took the stand in a rebuttal against the charges of dishonest baseball and made a reply to the suit. I guess somebody was suing Chicago. Oh, he was suing the Chicago Cubs because of his unconditional release at the beginning of the season, and said that he and Hal Chase had bet $500 on the Cincinnati club to win the first game of a doubleheader. So McGee said it happened. Schneider said it didn't. Either way, everybody says Hal Chase was involved.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. That's all. He's the linchpin to everything always. Whether one guy did it and the other didn't, or the vice versa, Hal Chase was in the middle of it and certainly did.
If there was a conspiracy of betting, Hal Chase was involved.
Yeah, another guy, John Heidler, who's president of the National League, and Bill Veeck. Wow, we know about the Veecks. There's a whole documentary on them. They're the disco demolition night and all that shit. Yeah, that's Bill Veeck. So they said that he was the president of the Chicago National League Club at the time, as they put it, the Cubs. Heidler testified that McGee made a confession to him and Veeck on February 10th, 1920, saying that McGee wanted to make a clean breast of the whole thing. It's a weird way to put it. And to set himself back into the game. McGee said in his confession, Heidler testified, he said that Chase had forced money on him and tempted him to gamble on the game. Sounds like he offered something that he could have said no to. Yeah.
So he wants it off of his chest? Is that what he means?
I think so. Clean slate and off his chest, and he mixed those two up.
Yeah.
And got clean breast. Let's get a nice clean titty, everybody. Ready for a baby to suckle on. Really, really clean. Not just like,
you put in your mouth.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Get all the glitter off of it. Seriously. You don't want that. So July 9th, 1920, Hal Chase signs to play first base for Porterville team. Now, Porterville is a small town in Northern California. Yeah. He signed to play first base with Porterville against some other team on the local lot Sunday afternoon.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. That's a far fall. The news that Chase and McHenry will enforce the local club, it is said, will greatly encourage fans who should turn out in large numbers with chances bright for a victory.
Yeah.
So now in August of that year, he's now with just the Porterville, some, smaller minor
Sandlot
league
style.
Yeah. Well, a gambling scandal erupts in the Pacific Coast League.
Huh.
And Hal Chase is not only kicked out of baseball in the PCL, he is banned from all PCL parks as well. He's not even allowed to watch a game anymore from these parks.
This man loves. How
cannot
long have
not
they been
do
doing
this.
over-unders and you know what I mean? All that shit.
Forever.
How long the national anthem's going to be.
How long has there been sport?
Everything.
Why
right?
do you think sports exist?
Right. That's what this guy was doing, right?
I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
Was he doing that far in?
Yeah, he was doing, he's throwing
parlays and shit.
I don't know if they were doing that in baseball, if they got that specific about it, or if it was just win-loss. I'm sure there's point spreads or run spreads, or however the fuck it works. Yeah. But yeah, I assume gambling was different 100 years ago. But the only reason it exists is to gamble on.
Yeah.
That's literally how it lasted through the times when there wasn't, it wasn't that lucrative before TV deals and all that kind of shit. That's how it lasted. It's been a gambler thing forever.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a micro-city built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real.
Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Do you think and I'm not talking about making it illegal or legal, if for some reason, like there was some alien that could control the planet, okay?
Yeah.
And made it so no one could gamble on football anymore. Like, literally, not even like me and you. We wouldn't even, our brains wouldn't be able to put it together to gamble on football.
Right.
How long do you think football would be on television?
Oh, God, Jesus.
It wouldn't last through the next season.
I want to jadedly say that there's purists and people that love it enough that they'd
Those
watch it
12
no matter
people
what.
would not be enough to fucking do this.
12 people in each market isn't doing it. Plus,
fantasy too. I'm saying throw all that. Yeah. That's what football is. It does not exist for anything else.
Right. And the NFL no sports are going to stop what is happening now because they are making the actual entities are making millions.
Oh yeah, they're partnering with them now. They're letting them name fucking stadiums after them and shit.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah, now they're just all in on that.
Disgusting amounts of money.
Instead of trying to keep gambling away from football, they made it so let's have the Super Bowl in Vegas and have our top sponsors be gambling things. Great. I don't give a fuck either way. I don't care.
Do whatever you're going to do.
I don't give a shit. That's a vice.
I do not enjoy what they're doing.
No.
Co-signing on all of it and not telling people, look, you have family members that cannot control themselves with this.
That's the problem.
A problem. Yes.
For long times, there's been degenerate fucking gamblers and getting their legs broken by guys and all this type of shit. This is different. They will take your fucking house now.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
A mobster.
The mob, right.
They just
They're
want
not
the
coming
vig
for
every
your
week.
house.
They want your
the
vig
money.
every week.
Yeah.
So, they might rough you up a little bit, break your arm, but not if you need both arms for work because they want your fucking vig every week. They'll figure out a way to make you can owe them.
If you build widgets with your hands, they'll break your feet.
Yeah, they hope that you can't pay them back and you can only pay the vig. That way, they can make that forever off of you.
Forever.
They're a credit card company.
Yes,
you'll actually lose your fucking house now. It's a different thing. These are companies.
There's going to be murders. There's going to be murders.
Yeah. This is and like I said, don't give a shit. You're fucking. I don't care.
This is your problem, not mine.
Not my problem. I am not the type to litigate people's vices and legislate them. I don't fucking care. Gambling, prostitution. You can regulate it if it's legal. So try to do that.
It's going to ruin lives.
But this is a fucking totally different thing. It is ruining fucking lives.
Real time.
Yeah.
Real time. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people. We talk about this all the time, but there's a lot of people that bitch and bitch and bitch, and I want to see their fucking bank statements. How much do you gamble, you fat motherfucker? How much do you gamble as you complain about shit from your $80,000 truck, you fucking asshole, and talk about how blue collar you are driving a car that costs more than any Mercedes, and you're sitting there, these fucking people, shut the fuck up. These people with their expensive college educations. Your truck costs more than 2 years at fucking Yale, you moron. What the fuck are you talking about? Shut up.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah. You've made your main investment in your life, your truck.
I can't believe how much money people have. I'm blown away how well people are doing because I'd love to know how you did it.
Well, I just want to see, and if you're bitching, if you're having a genuine tough time, that's horrible.
Fucking horrific.
But when people bitch and they're also gambling on the NFL every week, that's a problem that pisses me off. Hey, you know what you can cut out? I got an idea.
Don't show me your 12-way parlay if you're complaining about gas prices.
Yes, and it used to be that guy, you go, well, stop fucking gambling because you knew he was a degenerate and he had to go down to the bar to place bets. But now he does it on his phone and goes, what the fuck? This goddamn shit. Shut up. Shut up about that. So anyway, he's banned from all the parks in the PCL for allegedly attempting to bribe a Salt Lake City pitcher named Spider Baum prior to the game they were playing. He tried to bribe him. That day, he was also banned by the Mission League where he had played before. So he's just a fucking mess.
It's over.
Yeah, he can't even play in small leagues now. Right. So they said that this is the Salt Lake Tribune, says scandal rocks our league. Maggart released, Borton suspended, Chase barred. Those are the players here. Salt Lake outfielder under suspicion for accepting $300 from Vernon player. Jesus Christ. So everybody was approached by Hal Chase, though. He's the guy who started everything, which is really fucking funny, I think, that he's always in the middle of it. If he's around, you might as well just check and say, trying to get bribed today? Start looking through people's pockets. I bet they got extra cash. The Maggart guy's name is Harley Maggart.
Fascinating.
He's the outfielder for Salt Lake City who was released. Then Babe Borton, the first baseman of Vernon, was also indefinitely suspended as well. Harley Maggart. And Hal Chase is just barred from everything. And they said that he came to him with a proposition to make some easy money, Chase told Baum, the president said, and that he had some friends who were willing to bet large sums of money on the games, provided they had the edge. That's what he told them.
Yeah.
And the guy indignantly refused the pitcher. He would not do it, and he told on him.
Okay.
So they said immediately after this offer was made, Borton left the hotel at Los Angeles with Maggart and paid him at some Los Angeles bank the sum of $300. That's the other people here, which Maggart admitted to receiving, but which he claimed was for a gambling debt incurred the year before. Chase, who's been playing every Sunday with the San Jose team of the California Mission League, was barred tonight from further participation in the circus contests and, quote, must forfeit whatever interest he may have in the San Jose club. So if they gave him a piece of the club to play there, he can't have that anymore either. Yeah. They said that because the directors thought he was allowed to come to the league to begin with because they thought that he was repentant and felt it would be unfair to punish him for sins committed outside of the league.
Sure.
They said whatever happened there is not we're not going to mind our business over here.
Right. They
said this latest episode is enough, however. So we're done with him now. Done with Hal.
But they're making him forfeit it, not sell it, not gamble it.
No. Yeah, you could gamble
get it in credit.
Hey, Hal, let's double or nothing on Sunday's game. What do you say, Hal? Either you own part of two teams or you got nothing. What do you say? So the president McCarthy of the league issued this statement. I have this day notified, I want to put like an echo over this, notified all clubs of the Pacific Coast League that admission to our parks shall hereafter be refused, Hal Chase. If reports are true, Chase has done more to discredit baseball than any single individual. It was hoped that his activities would be ended with the elimination from the major leagues and would not extend further. Last week, however, at Los Angeles, Chase, so it has been reported to me, approached pitcher Charles A. Baum of the Salt Lake Club with a proposition to make some easy money. I have this in a signed statement from Baum. Chase went on to explain that he has had some friends who are willing to bet on these games if they knew the outcome. Chase will hereafter not be permitted in any park in our league. It is unfortunate that no further punishment can be imposed. We can't reach him now. Certainly there is no punishment too severe, but perhaps the contempt of men and women who love baseball and who believe in a clean sport will prove sufficient penalty.
Nothing too severe? We could kill him if we want.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Nothing is too severe.
I wish we could kill him, but they won't allow it.
So the only thing I'm mad about is I have no recourse on him now because I kicked him out. That's what the guy said. I wish we could kill him. That would be great. Mm-hmm. So that is fucking hilarious. They said some easy money. Chase is gone. They said Hal Chase could not be located. This is what the newspaper said. He did not attend a game between Vernon and Sacramento today, although he has attended several Coast games here recently. Friends of Chase said he has left Los Angeles for San Jose. So he was living in L.A. at the time, and he called the Los Angeles Examiner that night and denied all the allegations against him. He blamed his, quote, enemies in baseball. They're after me.
Yes, my enemies.
My enemies are trying to take me down. Don't you understand it?
There's nothing better than a my enemies.
My enemies.
Excuse.
Yeah. It's my enemies in baseball is fucking hilarious way to go. Oh, okay. It's not just the same thing you've been doing all the time for 20 years.
Forever.
This is This is totally different now. And he was banned in 2 other California leagues when efforts were made to sign him. The league immediately banned him. So he's not allowed to play anywhere, basically.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants him.
Well, it puts your whole shit in, it throws your all integrity right out the window and questions everything, every play that's made, especially if he's involved.
Yeah. And who wants to go watch a game that might be fucking fixed?
Yeah.
I mean, it's different if you watch wrestling and you know it's fixed. That's a different story. Yeah. You're not like, oh, they screwed my man over. You know it's part of the story. Whereas in baseball, you're like, what the fuck? You want to see an honest thing here.
And every other goddamn sport.
Another one that's high up in the league here says, if reports are true, Chase has done more to discredit baseball than any other single individual. Well, a team threw the World Series the last year, so let's calm down a little bit.
More than any individual, though.
Yeah, any individual. It was hoped that his activities would be ended with his elimination from there, but he's not permitted in any park, and there you go. So, Chase was first linked to the whole Black Sox scandal, speaking of him, in testimony by Rube Benton on September 23rd, 1920. He charged Chase and Zimmerman tried to bribe him $800 to throw a game against the Cubs the year before. So, they're really then Bill Burns is the guy who one of the series fixers. He said that Chase won over $40,000 betting on the series because the bets were through him, so he knows it for a fact. And that is fucking amazing. I love it. This is hilarious. I love this guy. He's just
he's a lot.
Well, it's like he just keeps doing it. So
he doesn't. Yeah, at least understand that penalty means learn your lesson and stop.
Yeah. You know what he's doing, at least, though. You always know what he's doing. So someone like that, even if they're all bad, you know that they're bad, at least. So you can go, oh, that guy's a scumbag. Okay. And treat him accordingly.
He's just the worst. We get it.
Yeah. So October 23rd, 1920, he is indicted.
Oh?
Now, a Chicago grand jury for complicity in fixing baseball games. He's accused of being one of the instigators of, quote, game selling. He had been previously obviously expelled from every park in the fucking league and in the country and all that. 13 indicted in the big league ball scandal here. And this is also part for show because they're trying to, anybody who's had a whisper of it, they're trying to absolutely just grill them so the public goes, oh, baseball's not messing around with those people. They must be serious.
This game matters to America at this point.
Oh, God,
and
it is the game in America.
Yeah, and if their integrity is fucked and they just had a World Series be thrown, then oh man, they better take a run at anybody that's gambling.
And this is a terrible time because it's right on the cusp of a whole new era of baseball.
Yeah.
This is Babe Ruth just went to the Yankees. Yankee Stadium's going to be built in 1923.
Oh, boy.
And I'm just using that as an example of that was a different era of baseball. Home runs came in. It became more exciting to the public anyway and all that kind of shit. So it's a big deal here. So indictments, though, being handed down, all these indictments against 10 of the men named today had previously been voted but were revoted to overcome legal technicalities, while the other 3, Abe Attell, Hal Chase, and William Burns, had only been unofficially mentioned in connection with the investigation. So according to testimony, at least several $100,000 was bet and won in the World Series. Chase was the first man to suggest throwing the series. So Chase didn't even think about that. Think about that. He wasn't even on the fucking team, and he was the guy helping throw the World Series. He didn't even play for either of the teams.
And he still figured out how to get to them all.
Yeah. It was his idea, I guess, or part of his idea. He called in others to help him. Harry Long, a Chicagoan, told the jury he alone placed $20,000 in bets on Cincinnati for Sport Sullivan of Boston, and testimony has been received concerning many other large bets, it was said. Besides Chase, Attell, and Burns, today's indictments covered 2 alleged gamblers. Sullivan, a man known to the jury only as Brown, mysterious,
Mr.
Brown, and the 8 players owned by the Chicago American League Club, 8 men out, those 8. So it's them, a couple gamblers, and our guy. That's who's involved in this.
Uh-oh.
What a fucking idiot. Officials from the state's attorney's office revealed sufficient of the jury proceedings to show the testimony has been given that Chase, who was expelled from the major league and barred from league parks in the West, was one of the chief instigators of the game selling. Now, November 23rd, 1920. Obviously, he's had a long summer.
Sure has.
Hal Chase's wife says, I've had enough now.
She would enjoy it to split and part ways?
That's it. This is his second wife, mind you.
Okay.
By the way, we'll hear again from his first wife, the alleged baby burner, we'll hear more from her coming up soon here. She comes back around.
She'd come back with a recipe?
Yeah, a recipe for fucking sauteed fucking broiled baby.
7 herbs and spices.
Oh, my God. Speaking of that, by the way, we had a Patreon episode recently that was the old-timey crimes that we did, which are hilarious. And we were laughing about somebody who was run over by a train or some shit on a baby. Something happened to somebody in 1891. We got a message saying, I am done with you guys. I'm canceling my Patreon. I was disgusted to hear you guys laugh about that happening to a baby. That baby would have been, even if it lived the longest life, it would still have been dead for 30 years at this point. Who
I don't know
fucking
the
cares?
death was funny. It's the idea.
Yes.
I think was it the wagon wheel?
I don't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. They weren't specific.
It's ridiculous that
hilarious.
It was possible to die that way.
That's crazy. And everyone that died in 1891, no one that ever has even met them is still alive. It can hurt nobody to laugh at this shit. Everybody's
fine.
long dead.
Relax.
Holy crap. So
you're going to hurt yourself.
Jesus. So Mrs. Hal Chase here, Anna M. Chase, is entering a suit for divorce from Hal. Mm-hmm. Probably saying this is completely embarrassing, is what she's probably saying.
Yeah.
What a complete disgrace.
You weren't even on the team.
You weren't even on that. Man, you're a fuck up. So in her petition states they were married May 27th, 1913. She charges Chase with, these are her reasons for divorce. Because you had to have reasons back then for divorce.
Yeah.
Anybody did. You couldn't just be like, I don't like that person anymore.
I mean, you still have to have one, right? When you fill out your divorce paperwork.
You can just say irreconcilable differences now.
That's the problem.
We don't like each other. Easy. But back then it was...
the differences.
It had to be abuse, abandonment, cheating. There had to be some reason for it back then. So she charges him with associating with other women, which, I mean, obviously, I'm sure in all of his dealings, there's ladies around.
Associating,
with spending money in gambling and other shit. So just pissing money away.
Sure.
She says she left him several times, but always returned to him on his promise to do better.
Yeah.
I'll
do better, baby, I promise.
She said since last March, he has given her a grand total of $1.
Attaboy.
That's not good. So the divorce was granted January 26th, 1921. Now, April 1921, the district attorney for the Cook County prosecution sent warrants to arrest all the indicted ball players and gamblers. Chase was picked up leaving a theater in San Jose on April 25th. He's arrested.
Wow.
Yep, wanted in connection with Chicago baseball scandal is the big newspaper headline. And, he's just as involved as anybody else.
Does it say what theater it was?
It does not in San Jose. No, it just said he's arrested by local officers on a warrant as he left a theater. That's all they said. Unfortunately, the theater didn't get a plug. That's a shame. I know why you're asking that, too, because the Improv is an old theater up there.
Yeah. So, it's a beautiful, old place.
It might be that, or it's some place they knocked down 80 years ago.
Or it's a place right next door to it.
Yeah. Who knows? So California, though, refuses to allow extradition to Illinois because of an incorrectly issued arrest warrant. So Chase never stands trial.
What?
He never stands trial. That's why you don't hear about Hal Chase and the trials and all that, because Cook County didn't dot their I's and cross their T's on fucking paperwork, and California refused to extradite him based on that.
So they didn't fix it? Because you can fix paperwork, right?
Apparently not.
Or do you only get one try, one shot?
That's it. One shot. You misspelled that. See, now he's free. Be careful. So,
wow.
All of the accused players, though, were acquitted on August 2nd, 1921, if we remember from our bonus episode on that. The baseball commissioner, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, later declared that any players who had been involved in throwing games would be banned from baseball, which included Chase. But he never formally ruled on Chase. He was just still under his previous indefinite suspension.
Right. He doesn't have to rule on him because he's not allowed to play anyway.
That's the thing. So that's how it goes. August 10th, 1921, there's an article that says, quote, Hal Chase seen as forlorn man.
Oh, he's forlorn.
Players catch him peeping through fence as Pacific Coast Leaguers play.
Oh, that's so sad.
Is it really, though, or is it just funny? It's the funniest, saddest thing ever. Like, there's like a bunch of 8-year-olds trying to, and they're like, dude, let us get our turn, Grandpa. And he's like, you shut the fuck up. I got money on this.
Is he looking through like the slat, like the slim, or is he looking through the knot?
I picture a knot hole. There's a knot hole.
A knot hole in it.
There's like 12 8-year-olds and Hal.
Yeah, trying to watch the game.
Yeah, and they're like, come on, mister, move. You gotta give us our turn. And they all take turns at the knot hole. That is so fucking sad.
So sad.
That is the saddest shit ever. Oh my God. They say as graphic comparison of the Hal Chase of today and the Hal Chase who performed so brilliantly on the diamonds of the big leagues not so many years ago is found. What is that? Is this old newspaper? It's too light. Is something in the following article by Thomas S. Rice, which recently appeared in the Washington Times. Mm-hmm. Quote, that the mills of the gods may grind rapidly, as well as grind exceedingly fine, is illustrated by a story told by George A. Putnam, business manager of the San Francisco Baseball Club of the Pacific Coast League. Putnam ran across the trail of the Brooklyn Superbas in St. Louis recently when he was on a swing through the major leagues to buy and sell players. That doesn't sound good. No, his club was the one which summarily released pitcher Tom Seaton and Casey Smith last year on charges of throwing games, and in connection with that, he told this anecdote. Outside of San Francisco, in the small towns, is the Mission League, composed of semi-pro clubs containing many old professional ball players who turn an honest penny on the side in the sport now that they have passed from the big show and are regularly engaged in other occupations. Among the towns in the Mission League is San Jose, and San Jose has a semi-pro park that would delight Ring Lardner. I don't know who the fuck that is. Mm-hmm. Far out in center is an ambitious scoreboard, liberally decorated with the advertising sign of the town's leading hardware merchant and a strong supporter of the team. About a month ago, San Jose was playing at home, and a ball was hit to center. It was diligently pursued by two outfielders, both formerly in organized baseball, one of them a major leaguer in his day. They chased the ball up to the scoreboard and tried to retrieve it before it took a bad bound that carried out of the height of the umpire, but failed. As the two veterans whipped around the corner of the board, they surprised a man peeping at the game through the planking. He was seedy in apparel.
Oh, no, he's all shabby.
Had a beard of several days' growth and a general air of utter forlornness. It looks like a hobo back there peeking on the game.
They surprised a scumbag.
Yeah, he had his dick in his hand. He was whacking it through the planks, and they caught him. Both outfielders were at first indifferent to the stranger, but at a second glance identified him. The utterly forlorn stranger was Hal Chase, who 2 years ago was a member of the New York Giants at a salary that was probably beyond that which until war times was paid a United States senator. It was the same Hal Chase who had been tried by the National League on the charge of throwing games. The same Hal Chase who had been given another chance by the New York National League Club. The same Hal Chase who had been fired by the New York National League Club on charges which were never fully explained, but were clearly understood to be based upon his alleged crookedness. It's the same Hal Chase who had left New York, returned to his home state of California, and been barred from the ballparks of that state on the ground of being involved in betting transactions. It's the same Hal Chase who stands before the world bearing unrefuted charges of having crooked the game, which brought him fame and fortune, and which is an institution of which his country has been vastly proud. Should remain an outcast forever, he would no more than bearing part of the penalty he deserves. If every man who had a hand in the crooking of the national game should die in an outcast gutter, despised by the Potter's Field men who bury him, it would be no more than they deserved. Die in gutters? And even
they're wishing the worst on him.
Not even be respected by the guys who bury bums in Potter's Field. which is where you go when you have no money and the city just needs a place to put you. So they stick you out in the field.
Right.
Not even the people who dig the paupers' graves should even hold the slightest hint of reverence for you.
They should die in the gutter.
In the gutter.
Stay there.
That would be no more than they deserved.
Than he deserves.
Jesus Christ. That is wild. So where do you go when you can't go anywhere else? You go to...
I mean, he's watching peep shows already.
Yeah, no, he's going to end up in Arizona, of course.
Is that right?
Last Chance Outlaw Central back then. I mean, it's barely a state. It was a state for like 8 years or some shit, or 10 years. So he spent most of the 20s playing semi-pro ball in Arizona. Different teams, Nogales, Williams, Jerome. All over. An outlaw team in Douglas, which also had Chick Gandil, Buck Weaver, and Lefty Williams of the Black Sox scandal fame. So
send him down to the fucking border.
Yeah, he's basically border towns is what it is. And Jerome up in the mountains, and Williams is way the fuck up there too. That's a long way to
then
travel.
It was
back
out
then.
of the fucking way.
Yeah, there's not great roads back then through those mountains. He was in Douglas in 1926 when the radio evangelist Amy Semple McPherson turned up there, claiming to have been abducted by Mexican bandits.
Well,
that's how she. She was an evangelist, a religious lady, and like most people who outwardly fucking can't shut the fuck up about their religion, she's full of shit. That's the thing.
She's a big fat liar.
Yeah, people who quietly observe their religion and go by the tenets of it, great. They usually are fine and honest people. People who don't shut the fuck up about how holy they are, we know the end of that. So, turns out this Amy Semple McPherson, rather than being abducted by Mexican bandits, of what she actually said, she had run off with her radio engineer.
I was just going to say she ran off with a man.
Yep. And reporter S.L.A. Marshall, who later said that Chase admitted to throwing a game, and later claimed that Chase had contemplated blackmailing Sister Amy, threatening to reveal that she had disappeared to have an abortion, though no evidence exists to corroborate that story. No paperwork or anything, which I don't know if a 1921 desert abortion had a fucking... Here's your chart.
Abortion?
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know how much paperwork really was involved in those. Probably not a ton, I would imagine.
There probably wasn't a lot of paperwork involved with like straight up and down ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The ones that insurance covered, I don't think there was a lot of paperwork on them.
Jesus Christ. A few months later, he tore both Achilles tendons in a car accident.
Oh, fuck.
We'll talk about that later. Then he went to Mexico, where in 1925 he made plans to organize a professional baseball league, but American League president Ban Johnson got word of it, and he pressured the Mexican authorities to deport Hal Chase.
Oh, my God.
Like, it's just going to be a big scam. Just deport him. Trust us.
Yeah.
We know. So, that's June 28th, 1923. Ban Johnson urges Mexicans to steer clear of Hal Chase, which is hilarious. That sounds like all Mexican people.
Funny,
yeah.
Hey, Mexicans, stay away from him.
How funny would it be? Ban Johnson urges Mexicans to steer clear of Jimmie Whisman. That'd be such a weird thing to see in print, wouldn't it? Why? Why do they have to steer clear of me?
Are you Mexican? Stay away from that man.
Stay away from him. That's the Indianapolis Star with their hilarious headline. And they say Hal Chase, for many years, a star of the diamond, an idol of baseball fans, but now disgraced, will be kicked out of Mexico, where he recently went seeking new fortunes. Kicked out of Mexico.
He recently went to scam people.
Yeah, that's why that's what's going on. Ban Johnson said he recently learned that Chase had crossed the border with the idea of teaching baseball to the Mexicans.
Okay.
Like they were on already. Like they were on Mars.
Yeah.
He has written a letter to the Mexican embassy urging them to take immediate steps to prevent the Mexicans from learning the Hal Chase brand of baseball. Okay. It's understood the Johnson letter was accompanied by another similar communication from William M. Mooney, postmaster of the city of Washington and close friend of Ban Johnson. Senor Tellez replied to Ban Johnson yesterday, assuring the American League president that he and other officials in the Mexican government would do everything possible to keep all undesirable baseball players out of Mexico. in order that the game may acquire a taint in its infancy there. He said, baseball is not under government control in Mexico, however. While it will not be possible for orders to be issued arbitrarily that Hal Chase shall be dismissed from his position as head of the team at Nogales, I've taken steps through what seem to be proper channels to bring the matter to the attention of my government. So we'll just kick him out of the whole country.
Right.
We can't tell him what not to do, but we can tell him not to be here.
Certainly.
Yeah, because he was recruited and hired by the Nogales Internationals to play first base and manage the club for 1923, which is a lot of opportunity to throw games.
Yeah.
So he had played for Jerome before that and also Williams. So they say that he's negotiating with Mexico, with the president of Mexico, to become the commissioner of the new Mexican Baseball League. That's
I wonder where the baseball diamond for that place, for the Jerome team was.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah, I don't know where it could have been.
Where would you fucking put? I guess it'd be down at the bottom of the hill.
I was going to say it'd
right?
have to be at the bottom of the hill, or they'd have to really flatten something out, because otherwise.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a.
I don't know where
you're hitting off the side of a cliff.
Yeah, a big enough patch of land that's
right.
not
doesn't
hilly.
exist.
Doesn't really
right.
exist in Jerome.
No.
It'd have to be down in the valley area of it there. So they said Hal Chase, here's another article, Hal Chase to be Mexico's Landis, meaning the commissioner of baseball down there.
What?
Yep. He's going to start his league, and that's what it's all about. Said he went to Mexico. Now he's going to run the league. He said it won't be but a year now, Hal said, when any baseball team, before annexing the title of world's champions, will have to beat our best team.
Oh.
So in the course of a year, he'll have teams that can compete with any major league team.
Give me 9 months.
Yeah. The Mexicans are natural ball players and are developing a love for the game.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
I feel I will have an opportunity here in Mexico of placing baseball on a sound and honest foundation and demonstrate to baseball fans of the United States that I was Dreyfus. I was the Dreyfus and not the Benedict Arnold of organized baseball.
Oh, he's the other side. Would he be able to sue and say that they can't say they're world champions if they didn't play us?
I don't think so. You can say you're world champions of your league. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are you suing under? The title of your claiming
you're the best in the world?
I can call myself the world champion of anything and no one can sue me for it. You know what I mean? They call me an asshole and call me a liar, but they can't sue me. Really.
I got the cleanest toes around. I'm the world champion of cleaning toes.
The world champion. So the Fresno Bee, April 6, 1925, Hal Chase to play in Frontier League that opens April 18th. So they're talking about El Paso, Fort, it's going to be, how many teams here is this? El Paso, Douglas, Fort Bayard, and Juarez. These teams were formed to be in this league.
Border teams, yeah, 4 of them.
Yeah. El Paso's protest against the playing of Hal Chase, banished major leaguer and Douglas manager, was overridden. So that's hilarious. Douglas refusing to enter the organization without him. Chase runs a saloon at Agua Prieta, Mexico, across the line from Douglas.
Is that right?
He's runs
got a bar
fucking
in
border
Mexico.
Saloon. Oh my God! Could it be shadier?
Across the border from Douglas, like
yikes!
It's fucking miserable over there.
That is.
There's no water.
There's nothing there.
That's bad.
He's got a bar there. Holy shit here. So April 8th, 1925, it's again from El Paso, and they keep talking about he's the former Yankee, and now he's going to be doing this. He's going to, isn't it exciting? So May Hal Chase from, what is this, April 18th, 1925. May Chase Hal Chase from Outlaw League is the headline. Hal Chase, former baseball star who stands banished from organized baseball, has been a recent storm center in the Independent Frontier League, having been made manager of the Douglas team. They said that Chase is he may be kicked out of the league, is what they're saying. So just for being Hal. Why not? His mother dies on April 28th, 1925, and was buried in San Jose. And he was one of the pallbearers, Hal was.
Yeah.
So he's 36 at this point. Or not 36. This is a different time. He's trying to get something going because he's got nothing. One guy in the Sporting News said, Chase soon became a desert drifter of the Southwest. For a while, he did quite well playing in an independent copper mining league in which competition and bets were high. However, as he lost his ability and speed, he played ball for as low as $1 or a few drinks a game. He wants
water or booze.
Out there, it's probably tainted water.
Yeah, but that certainly tells you how far he's slid. If he's playing for water or playing
drinks.
For booze.
Yeah. God, no shit. He once operated an auto laundry in Tucson. I don't know if that's a laundromat or car wash. I'm not sure. And worked at various menial tasks. He tried to drown his sorrow in the panther juice of the Southwest, and it undermined his health.
The panther juice.
Panther juice. Wow. Isn't that what Charlie Sheen was drinking?
Ever heard of that?
Neither have I. Panther juice? Wow.
That's what I'm always calling it from now on.
Yeah, after any live show, you guys, do you want to go get a panther juice? Want to grab some?
Go grab a panther juice together.
Come on, man, let's do it. I don't feel like it. Come on, the Panthers are biting tonight. All right,
what are you doing? You're blowing it.
So this is a guy from Tucson named Roy Drockman who tells us stories of Hal when this guy Roy is 84 years old. He remembered Hal from back in the day. And he said he privately published a memoir, and wrote, back in the mid-'20s, there were 3 or 4 local semi-pro ball teams, the strongest of which was usually the Southern Pacific Rails. I was just out of school and was the team's regular shortstop. I and another gringo by the name of Joe Wagner were the only members of the team who were neither Indian nor Mexican American. We played one unforgettable series in Bisbee on the 4th of July. God, that sounds hot.
Wow.
Holy shit, that's hot. Against a team which included one of the members of the Chicago Black Sox of the infamous 1919 World Series. Buck Weaver played third base, and another famous player who had been banned from baseball for life for some unsavory acts, Hal Chase, played first base for the Bisbee team in that series. They beat us with ease, but it was exciting to watch these former big leaguers perform. Several other of the Black Sox players played in and around the border towns here, he goes on to say, but it was Chase who made the most vivid impression. Quote, it was at the tag end of his life. He was on his uppers at the bottom of the barrel. Jesus. I met Hal during the late 20s. I was still playing a little semi-pro ball, and he said that he was most struck by the fact that Hal Chase played a very, very far back first base. He said it was like he was playing shallow right field.
Oh.
I guess he had I don't know why, that was just his style.
He's like in the grass on first base?
He's back there. I guess his reaction time is what he's worried about, probably. He probably has less reaction time than he used to. But he said, quote, Hal Chase was a bum when I knew him.
Go on.
I met him the first time at the Cave Bar in Nogales. A friend said, Hal, let's see how you swing. He was swinging a pool cue at pieces of paper that were tossed at him. Everyone was drunk. During Prohibition, he was around here 3 or 4 years. He did odd jobs, and he used to borrow money from me. I was managing an old opera house on Congress Street where the Baker Shoe Company is now.
Wow. In Tucson.
Hal used to get his mail there. He once came in, think about that.
Wow.
He didn't even have an address. Hal used to get his mail there. Once he came in, and I was in a bad mood. He asked me for money, and I told him I only had 15 cents on me. We visited for a while, and when he got up to leave, he said, Roy, can I have that 15 cents? I can buy a loaf of bread.
Can I have your last 15 cents?
15 cents. I gave it to him and couldn't stop thinking that a man in the position of needing such a pittance was really near the end of the line.
Yeah.
He said he wore old, worn-out clothes. He'd come in once a week for his mail. He got very little, mainly from his family. Jesus Christ. He said he'd talk about baseball. He didn't have anything else to talk about. Chase spent a lot of time at Dooley's Pool Hall on Stone between Congress and Pennington. They said apparently Chase was one time a world-class pool player. There's witnesses that said that he's played very close with some of the top pool players in the world at that time. He was that good. But this guy said he never saw Chase playing pool. He said Chase preferred to sit and visit than hang out with the college kids and drink and watch them play pool.
He was betting.
Yep. He's betting. That's exactly what it is. So they asked Chase how he's probably the fucking guy holding the bets, I bet. He's probably the bookmaker.
Yeah, he's the bookie.
He's taking a little scrape off it all, and that's that.
Sure.
Asked how he made a living, this guy said, quote, Chase said he'd paint a barn, clean a yard, chop wood. He'd do anything to try to keep his body and soul together. He still drank, but I only saw him intoxicated the time I met him in Nogales. He said he was appalled by Chase's lifestyle, but he still harbors a soft spot for him. He says, and this is the quote you want said about you, quote, he was very outgoing and friendly. He was nice looking when cleaned up. He was a bum, but he was a nice bum. A nice bum.
He literally was a bum. He was a hobo.
Yep, that's the title of this episode for sure. A nice bum. So that is great. But they said that he didn't like his manual labor, and you could find him in the smokehouse or at the neighboring B&P pool hall, other people said.
Smokehouse was the restaurant, right?
Yes, I believe so. Probably had a pool table there. Yeah. But they said that he was a very good pool player. Other people did see him play pool. I guess these pool halls would be people from El Paso would come in and try to hustle games from the people who lived here. And one guy said that Chase in the pool halls, he said he would gather all of his this guy said he was a kid at the time, and all of his friends would gather to watch Hal play pool. He said, damn right, he was a good pool player, but he couldn't make much of a living out of it because nobody had any money back then.
Right.
Everybody's poor living in Douglas in the 20s, so you could beat everybody, but they don't have anything to lose to you.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So there you go. They also said that the major leaguers were nothing special to the citizens of Douglas. They said their players were friendly, but they didn't have no friends here. Why?
And, that's pretty much Arizona in general.
Yes.
Like, they don't give a fuck about anybody.
No, people
unless they're
there.
unless they're insane
the
stars.
Yeah. Except for all the people who sold out our show in November at Stand Up Live. You people are fantastic. It's the rest of everybody else. You know who we're talking about. You're in traffic. You know. So July 27th, 1926 here. His son, remember Hal Chase Jr.?
Yeah, whatever happened to him?
Well, he comes to live with him for a while. He's running a saloon, gambling, drinking, and sort of playing baseball in Douglas, Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, come on in. That's a good place for Hal Jr. when he's 16. Let's bring him into this mix. So, Hal Jr. talks about how he came in, and there's articles about how Hal Jr., when he's in high school in Douglas here, he comes to stay with his dad, he hits a home run. And Hal Jr. himself later on will say they made a big deal out of it, and it wasn't a big deal. He said it actually didn't go over the fence. It hit the ground and went through a hole in the fence, but everybody said it was a home run, and they put it in the newspaper that Hal Chase's kid blasted this home run out.
Right.
So next thing you know, there was teams trying to sign him. Like professional teams. They're like, it's Hal Chase's kid. He hit this home run. He's probably just a chip off the old block.
Right.
Turns out he said it was just a big overhyped thing. He wasn't that good of a ball player. And he knew it. He said it just wasn't. So he did go sign with the San Francisco Mission Club and said, I'm a ball player. And they said, so's your old man. So they were like, yeah, we know you. He said, my name is Hal Chase Jr. Right away. So they were like,
we're very well aware because you said the name Hal Chase.
Yeah, we get who that is here. So he's hanging out with his son, and there's an article here from 1926. This is what got his son signed. Hal Chase's son is a Sandlot star, already signed with Mission for trial when he quit school. He said, so, yeah, he's a kid. It's a big deal. He said his kid's only 16. Young Hal is only 16, but has the seasoned ivory hunters in rapture already. Okay. What? He has the seasoned ivory hunters in rapture, so the people looking for good ball players, I guess, scouts. Even those who have seen hopefuls fade repeatedly are enthused. For at this stage, he's just like his dad was in the days he was too, a San Francisco sandlotter. And the kid himself, say he's out to equal his father's record for a reason. He said, I know my father has been accused of many things he could not be blamed for. He was made the GOAT. I'm going into baseball in the hope that I can redeem the name Hal Chase.
Oh.
This kid's the ultimate junior, man.
He thinks he can fix it?
He's going to fix it all. Yep.
Yeah.
I hope I can be as good a player as my father. I couldn't be better under any circumstance. So they said he's attending the same high school that Hal did back in the day there. And like his dad, he throws left-handed, bats right-handed. They said he's built like his father, has a strong resemblance, and even the same characteristic gestures out on the ball field.
Really?
Yes. The boy doesn't know whether to be a pitcher or a first baseman. Old Hal was tried at shortstop and third base and catcher before he became the premier first baseman. So young Hal has another year in high school. He'll not join the missions as a player until 1928 training camp, but in the meantime, he's putting on a uniform every time the mission club is home, working out with the veterans who are glad to give their lore to a lad of such natural ability. Yeah. So here's more on this father-son relationship here. This comes from Hal Chase later on when he's 80 years old. Hal Chase Jr.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. Because that was in the paper fluff pieces. Later on, he's actually talking about his life. And he said he was 2 when his parents were divorced, as we found out. They got divorced early. He didn't see his dad again until he was 16.
That's the first time he'd seen him since 2.
Since 2. Hal just didn't even go see his kid. He said, when we lived in New Brunswick, New Jersey back then, she moved to California to avoid the wrath of the Catholic Church over her divorce.
For the divorce,
which a lot of people moved out west for that. It was a place to start over. My grandmother even did that in the 60s. It was just what you did, which just wasn't done in those days. She took a job at an ice cream store in San Francisco and sent me to live with my grandparents. They're skipping over the whole help burn a baby thing.
Right. Yeah. How about that part?
Yeah. So the mom sent Hal Jr. to live with Hal's parents.
Yeah.
In San Jose. It sounds cruel, but it really wasn't. It was harder on her. She remarried when I was 9. So Chase moved in with his mother and his stepfather, who was a welder.
Yeah.
And 7 years later, his dad showed up when he was 16. He said, my father came to California when I was 16 and asked to bring me to Arizona, where he was playing in the Copper League. His mother and stepfather agreed, and Hal was in Douglas for 8 months. He enrolled in Douglas High School, and, he said, quote, when I arrived in Douglas, my father left the next day to go to Flagstaff. I was just an appendage, easy to get along without.
Ew.
He put me in a rooming house, got me a meal ticket at a coffee shop, and left me with $1. I had no idea when he'd be back.
To go play baseball?
Yeah. Stay here, eat there, see you soon, bye.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. When he did come back 10 days later, the first thing he said to me was, do you have any money?
You have any change of that $1?
That $1 I gave you 10 days ago? When I told him no, he said, what happened to the $1 I gave you? He was kidding. Okay, that's good.
Okay, yeah.
He certainly wasn't cheap. It wasn't that he didn't care. He just did as much as he was capable of. He just didn't think. So he said things didn't get any better for him. He said, quote, this is Hal Jr., I wasn't too well accepted in the town. I was a stranger living with my father in a rooming house a block from the Gadsden Motel. My father was usually gone. That was the great indication of how carefree my dad was. I never had an opportunity to be close to him. He was traveling most of the time, and he always seemed to have a girl somewhere, one of my uncles mentioned. I got homesick for California and went back 8 months later. He's like, I'm going to go play ball and fuck a few women, and I'll be back at some point. Here's $1. So he...
it sounds cruel. No, apart from that, I mean, your mom fucking barbecued a baby.
Yeah. This is whole thing is weird.
Both of your parents are cruel. Yeah.
Everything is weird here. He says about him in the end, quote, he was a nice guy when he had money and was on top. Money didn't mean anything to him, really. He took care of his parents, bought them a house in San Jose. For all the things that happened to him, he was not bitter. Well, it's all self-inflicted. Yeah, that's the thing. He's not a terrible guy. He just scams. He's a scammer. That's all.
He's not being hurt by anybody else. Like
no.
He did it to himself. Yeah, he can't be bitter.
He forced his way. They kept giving him more chances, and he was like, no, I'll fuck that up too. Don't worry.
If he was bitter, he'd be only bitter at himself.
That's be the person to be bitter at. Now, August 24th, 1926, this kind of sucks and pretty much ruins any chance of playing even this low-level baseball for much more time here because basically they started having just people drive the teams. They didn't have a bus or anything. So they just started having people from the town who would volunteer would drive players places.
Volunteer Ubers.
Yeah, basically to drive them to the next games. And there's a car accident here. And he and another player are injured pretty badly in this car accident. They were driving to Silver City and thought he had passed, I guess this driver thought he had passed the last curve when he came unexpectedly to another curb, which he could not negotiate. The car overturned, and both men received numerous lacerations and bruises, but didn't have any serious injury. Chase received severe lacerations about his head, arms, chest, and legs, in addition to painful bruising about his head, and I guess his legs are fucked up too. He hurt his legs.
Huh. Both of them?
I suppose so. That's what they're telling me here. So, yeah, and they said he's going to return home to California as soon as he's able to travel.
Wow.
So he's going to be about 2 weeks before he can even go anywhere. So, they talk about him and his accident. There's a little more on it here. Apparently, there was, this is him. Okay, never mind. This is a month later after this. That's August.
Yeah.
Now, a month later in September, here, he's injured in another car accident.
Oh, no.
Yes. Him and another car, which he drives on the Whittingham stage route, while trying to clutch a slipping something, he accidentally stepped on the gas, so the car shot suddenly forward and struck an electric light pole.
Oh, no.
Near Lyman Tuttle's farm. The car was considerably damaged. Mr. Chase escaped serious injury on the count of his stooping position. He was stunned and lamed a good deal, and several fingers were lacerated. They took him to the hospital, and he was to return home. So, How much do you want to bet he was shit-faced when that happened?
Oh, for sure. Had to be, right?
He confused pedals and gunned it into a fucking pole.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound good. So he moves to El Paso in 1927 and spends the rest of the 20s playing for a bunch of shitty semi-pro teams. Also goes prospecting for gold in the Sierra Nevada mountains is also what he does for a living for a while, too.
Oh, God, Jesus. Not just an expedition.
No, not just for fun.
Job.
Not a fun weekend like they have the parks where you could do that now. No. He was like, I need to make some dough. So August 2nd, 1927, we find all of that out, and then we also find out, oh, wow, Harry Rose opens his new store Thursday.
Hell yeah.
Watch papers for announcement. Thank fuck for that. There's an ad under it. April 10th, 1928 here. He's playing baseball again, like we said, and he keeps playing. He's playing for Porterville again now. So they've banned him. Now he's okay to go back again, apparently. So 1929, May 29th, 1929. It's Old Timers Today is what it's the article's headline here. Former big league first baseman and former manager Cleveland Indians, St. Louis Browns, and Kansas City Federals, written especially for Central Press and Morning Call. Somewhere in the war-torn land of Mexico is the last news I heard from him still, if the last news I heard from him still holds good, is an aging athlete making a gallant fight against the enemy who wins in the end over all athletes. Time.
Ooh, that's a good enemy.
Oh, yeah. The man is Hal Chase. As graceful and sure an athlete as has ever donned a baseball uniform. Last I heard of Hal, he was managing a semi-pro outfit out in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, where the revolution caused him to move back to the United States or not. I do not know. So they're like, no one knows where he is, basically, is what they're talking about here. They said, we don't know where he is. He might still be in Mexico. Who knows? So his brother now, Albert, who's 60, dies at this point as well here. So now he's got a dead brother. That's in 1928. 1930, December 29th, 1933. This is depression now.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah. And he is the word Great Depression fits not only the country but him as well.
Yeah.
This is the Boston Globe, so big newspaper.
Yep.
And the headline is Old Diamond Star Now Down and Out. Hal Chase does odd jobs and washes autos. Listen to this article. A disheveled and broken figure stumbled into the gorgeous lobby of the Hotel El Conquistador.
Yeah.
Disheveled and broken figure.
Good God.
Jesus. He looked in the mirror before he left the house. He was like, all right, this is the best I can do. And they were like, disheveled and broken. There you go. Wow, says Special Dispatch to the New York World Telegram under the date December 26th from Tucson, Arizona. I'd like to see Doc Barrett, he told the clerk. Charlie Barrett is the veteran trainer of the Columbia University football team being polished up for the New Year's Day game with Stanford. Chase, muttered the man in filthy clothing. Chase, tell the doc it's Hal Chase. Barrett couldn't believe it and came down to the lobby to ascertain who the imposter was. He's like, that's not Hal Chase.
Who's this phony?
But it wasn't a pretender. Although Barrett scarcely recognized him, there stood once glamorous Prince Hal, the baseball immortal considered by many to have been the greatest first baseman who ever lived. Barrett trained the old New York Highlanders, with whom Chase played a score of 8 years ago when he was at the height of his fame. Tears poured down the cheeks of both as they embraced each other. The sight of Barrett brought happy memories and no doubt bitter regrets to Chase, ostracized from baseball for, well, to make it easy, sharp practice is how they call it. After being outlawed, he drifted back to San Jose. He's barred from everything. He drifted down to the border. They keep using drifted and broken. And it's the words they're using. Prince Hal made a living until the bottom dropped out of the copper mines. He couldn't return to California. The home folks looked upon him with askance, so he remained out in the desert. He gets a CWA job now, which is a government works job.
Right.
This is for unemployed people to give them some kind of money, and now and then washes automobiles in a Tucson garage at 50 cents a copy. With his second wife, he lives in tourist camps. So now he's got another wife, who's actually his third wife, if he's got another wife now.
Yeah, living in tourist camps.
I think that's like Hoovervilles, basically, like transient villages.
Yeah, tent cities.
Yeah. What was your biggest thrill in baseball? Barrett asked him. One would think it would have come to Prince Hal while he was knocking them out of their seats big time, but it didn't. Quote, "Oh, I guess I got the day I caught a bunt off Doc Strub's bat while I was in college," said Chase. And he related the story that he caught a bunt off a guy's bat in college. That was it. Yep. Chase was a left-handed pitcher for the University of Santa Clara and caught the next day. This particular afternoon, he was catching against the University of California. They describe he caught a fucking bunt. It doesn't matter.
I mean, how about the day you won $40,000 in one day?
That's what I want to hear about.
That's a pretty good day.
That's a good fucking day. So the Barrett said, quote, "How old are you, Hal?" 46, replied Chase. They again shook hands. The tramp who was once Prince Hal shuffled out into the blazing desert sun. Then a local sports writer said, quote, "Why, only the other day he told me he was 48.
Oh, no.
And then another guy, Barrett, pipes up and said, he's the guy who went to see the trainer, said, quote, "Well, I happen to know that he's 51. So I know how old he is. I was the trainer.
Yeah.
Even though he's down and out, he's still Hal. Mm-hmm. So, yep, it's all he's doing now. So January 2nd, 1934, Hal Chase tells the newspaper that, quote, he was king of them all.
Yeah.
Yep. They said he now depends upon a few dollars he can pick up playing with nondescript semi-pro teams around Arizona. It's 1934. He's 50.
Jesus, fuck.
The fuck kind of thing is that? So, yeah, they say it's just that's what he's doing. He's just he has to depend on
bullshit.
What he can do. His dad dies. James Edgar Chase dies here. His dad was from East Machias, Maine, by the way.
No shit.
Yeah, he's a Maine guy. Died there at the home of his daughter here, who was his sister. His father was 88 years old, actually.
How about it?
Not too shabby there.
In the 30s?
In the 30s, yeah.
Wow.
Made it far. That's a fucking hell of a run, man. You got to be a sturdy individual for that shit.
That's a Mainer. That's what that is. That's a guy he's seen some shit.
Didn't even have penicillin yet. I mean, you were fucking...
Right.
Wow. April 20th, 1936. Okay, he does not have a great day.
No.
He is, this is from the Fresno Bee. It's from Oakland. Hal Chase, 53, who ranked a decade ago as one of the greatest first basemen in baseball, was severely injured when he was struck by a car today.
Why are cars so dangerous for him?
Fuck, man. Cars, a lot of people got hit by cars back then.
Yeah,
the roads weren't, they didn't have the fucking crosswalks and shit.
Right.
Attendants at the Alameda Hospital said his condition was only fair after he suffered lacerations about the head and body and a concussion of the brain. Jesus.
Instead of the one of the hands or the feet?
Instead of the one of the hands. So, he's just in a world of shit,
world
this
of
guy.
Shit.
World of shit. He's quickly just spiraling downhill. If he was a snowball, he'd be getting too big to make a snowman out of at this point.
God, you're not
You'd
kidding.
lose him in there. So he's laying in his hospital bed. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He's just so sad. He doesn't know what to do with himself. All of a sudden, he hears some dogs barking coming from down the hallway. He's like,
great.
Allow dogs in the hospital? And through his doorway, who is it? It's Bobby Colorado. That's right, animal trainer from Fredericksburg, Texas. And he says... How is it you come to arrive here? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm looking around. You look at you. You're getting hit by cars every 10 fucking minutes.
Terrible.
Oh, that says you got another wife, but I think you lied, Hal. I don't think you got another wife. I really don't. The last one left you.
Yeah.
You're a bum, but you're a nice bum, and I understand that. You should get yourself a dog, is all I'm going to say, Hal. I really think you should get yourself a dog because I think loneliness is your main problem right now.
It might be true.
Plus, I think a dog is probably a little bit smarter than you at this point. It might be able to discourage you from doing dumb shit or at least bark at you when a car is coming toward you.
Yeah.
And going to hit you in the fucking head. So, you know what I mean? Let's get a dog. But, oh, Jesus Christ. I got to go take 3-4 of these dogs outside right now. I got to go. But it's been good talking to you. Yeah, good luck, buddy. I got to go. Poof. And then poof. in a cloud of dog shit and marinara sauce.
Dog shit and marinara.
He's gone, and Hal is very confused. He's absolutely confused. He tried to bet with Bobby while he was there. He's like, "Will you take bets?" He's like, "I don't do that no more." You know what I mean?
I bet she drops 4 logs. How much you want to bet?
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? How many shit and piss? We're not betting on the dogs. So now the first Hall of Fame balloting for the inaugural Hall of Fame for baseball.
Wow, that's
is in
wild.
1936.
Awesome.
And he receives a couple of votes, actually.
Really?
During the inaugural voting, he garnered 11 votes and was named on 4.9% of the ballots. They need like 70%, so that's not 75% or whatever. So
it's not great, but somebody's heard of him. It's pretty good.
Other people who did get in, Connie Mack, Rube Marquard, Three Finger Brown, Mordecai Three Finger Brown, Charlie Gehringer, and John McGraw, as well as Shoeless Joe Jackson, who was banned.
Yeah.
Yep. In 1937, he received 18 votes. Hal does, which is 9%, so it actually went up. And then after the 37 vote, he was dropped from the ballot. He never received the 75%, needed here. So that's that. And here he goes. May 5th, 1936. He's going to be spend the night in the pokey now. Yeah. Here we go. Hal Chase is jailed. Ball star held as drunk driver.
Oh, no.
Hal Chase, one of baseball's immortals, often called the greatest first baseman to play in the major leagues, shook his head sadly in the county jail today and said, quote, "It was all a mistake." that the last 20 years of your life, yes, it was all a mistake, Hal. You're right.
You are one of the first professional athletes ever to get a DUI.
Yeah, he's one of the first ones. He's like, God, Dad, I didn't even think it was possible to get a DUI. I didn't know that was illegal.
I didn't know it was a law.
It seems a rule. Yeah, I knew it was a rule. I didn't know it was a law. Back then, most of the time, they'd be like, well, how far are you going? Well, you be careful. Don't fucking, don't go too fast or something. They didn't really. You had
Let
to be
us
like,
go first and tell people to get out of the way.
Yeah. You had to be like stumbling, falling over drunk.
Yeah.
Because I heard something, I think it was in the 60s, can't remember where, possibly Texas, where the legal limit was 0.15.
My God.
That was what they would test you, 0.15. You know how fucking drunk that is? That's really drunk.
That's a literal extreme DUI in Arizona.
Yeah, that was anything under that, you were fine. So it's, quote, "It seems that Hal, imbibing too freely of the cup that cheers, drove his automobile in Williams last night in such a way to endanger life, limb, and property. Now he's in jail, charged with drunk driving. Hal has to stay in jail today because it's election day and Judge Recker's office in Williams is closed. He will probably go before the judge tomorrow." Jesus Christ. So
unbelievable.
He is now just floating around between Arizona and California, working menial jobs, doing day labor, getting drunk afterwards.
So long to get to California from Arizona back then.
Oh, so long. The roads were terrible. The 10 didn't exist, so it was going to be hard.
In a car that does 20 miles an hour.
Fuck, man. Yeah, and you'd have to stop and add water all the time. These cars were not great.
And light your headlights.
Who's got a match?
If we got a match, I need my headlights.
Jesus.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
March 14th, 1941 is an article in the Register here. Headline, Hal Chase bedridden, apathetic to game.
What does that mean?
Oh, man. Chase is bedridden for 4 months in the Colusa County Hospital with a stomach disorder. Doesn't give a whoop in a rain barrel for baseball if he can't play the game, he says.
A whoop in a rain barrel.
Whoop in a rain barrel. That's old-timey. Wow. Not a whoop in a rain barrel. How do we not name the episode Not a Whoop in a Rain Barrel?
I don't even know what the fuck that means.
I have no idea what that means. That makes no sense. That is fucking interesting. So, despite his 58 years, Chase is still the outward picture of health, standing 6 feet and weighing 190 pounds. He's embarrassed to be termed one of baseball's immortals. Quote, "Shucks," he said today. There were lots of first basemen who were better. There was Fred Tenney of the Boston Braves. I learned a lot by watching him. So they talked about he claims to have introduced the squeeze play into the major leagues when he was with the Yankees back in the day. That's what he says. He said he learned the play from Charlie Graham when Charlie Graham was managing the Tacoma Tigers. He brought it into Major League Baseball, is what he said.
I didn't invent it. I brought it here.
Yep, that's what he says. They asked that he played in college. He played 2 games in college, and they asked him whether he graduated, and he said, quote, "Hell no, I didn't graduate," which is what I say when people ask me about high school. Yeah. Hell no, I didn't graduate. I only went to class twice. I was interested in baseball.
Okay.
Interesting. He said that once, the lack of education, he said, once caused him to turn down a stage offer for $1,500 a week because he wasn't good at reading a script.
Oh.
Yep. He joined Los Angeles in 2004. They talk about his baseball career. He said, they said in these days, by the way, this is 1941, in these days of astronomical salaries for ball players, which is pretty funny, because they made a lot more. A great player, an all-star, made a lot more than your average guy, but not like the difference between
$30 million,
$40 million a year, and $60,000 a year. It wasn't that much of a difference. So they said Chase's peak of $7,000 seems picayunish. He figures he earned $150,000 from the game, but he didn't save it. He was too much of a good time Charlie, ready to set up the drinks for the boys at the drop of his glove.
Same.
He's a good time Charlie, a nice bum. Yeah, who isn't like that? So the toughest pitcher in the old days was Walter Johnson, he says. I never could get many hits off Walter, and that's a confession and a concession from a man who hit .341 with the Reds the days before the rabbit ball. July 30th, that was April 14th, 1941. July 30th, 1942, Hal has a stroke. Not good.
Not good medicine in 42.
No, not good at all for stroke. So he apparently collapsed on a downtown street from a stroke.
Oh,
had a stroke and just fell over.
In Arizona?
Yeah, they said he's 69. Oh, this is in Alameda, California.
Okay.
He's 59 or 59. They said he suffered no serious effects from his collapse, and hospital attendants said he would only briefly be incapacitated. So apparently it was a small stroke. He underwent treatment at Colusa, California Hospital last year for a leg ailment in 1906, and they talk about his career. August 1st, 1942, 2 days later.
Yeah.
Okay, he's awake, but now he doesn't know who the fuck he is.
Oh, really?
He's got amnesia.
Oh.
They let him out of the hospital, apparently, but a little early, I would say. He was, now he's in the hospital again in Oakland's Highland Hospital. Quote, the former baseball Wonder Man was found wandering on an Alameda lawn, torn and tattered with no resemblance to the dapper and deft diamond digger. Jesus Christ.
Dapper and deft diamond digger.
Wow. Who showed the world how baseball should be played. Yeah, on a bet. Right now,
money on the line.
Wow. Our sympathies are wholeheartedly on the side of this one-time knee-panted local youth who went from here to Santa Clara and from Santa Clara to immortal fame in the public mind. We say in the public mind because Hal Chase will never be cast in bronze at Cooperstown. A scandal which barred him from the game prevented that. But those days are gone, and he's taken his punishment by being torn from his first base. So the past in our mind's eye is now a running movie of quick footwork, a brown glove snatching a white pellet one jump ahead of an anxious runner, a quick bat smacking one down the line. This person thinks they're writing a novel.
Truly.
Just quit your job as a sports writer, write your fucking novel, because it's annoying. It's leaking over into your work. He's in tough straits now. He was and perhaps still is a victim of amnesia. He's left his Williams home to take a Bay Area defense job and never arrived. Because now there's a lot of war jobs. It's in the middle of the war.
And he's so fucked up he never made it?
Yep, a woman phoned police that a ragged and tattered man was wandering on her lawn. It was Hal Chase, who at one time could have danced a figure 8, the Highland fling, and done a hand flip over the same lawn and still put the runner out. So time does pass. We make fame and we make mistakes and are praised and booed, especially in the most upsy-down game in the world, baseball. Upsy-downsy. He doesn't know downsy, though. It's just upsy-down.
Yeah, it's upsy-downs.
We wish Hal Chase, son of a local sawmill man, recovery from his illness, and besides that, the best of luck. His wheel of fortune has certainly been kept spinning all of his 55 years. He's about due for another lucky number, and he's not 55.
No.
He's older. So that's sad. Now, if you're feeling sad about that and you're reading this newspaper, another thing you might be feeling sad about is that you're not smelling as good as you'd like to smell. If you happen to be in Reno, Nevada, in July 30th, 1942, do we have some ads for you? The sales, Jimmy. We have,
it's a great place to be selling smell good.
It is. New underarm cream deodorant safely stops perspiration.
Oh.
And this is it's arid, but it's like a can of it, like a
aerosol? Or
no, like you dip your fingers in and wipe it on there.
Like some Brill cream?
I was gonna say like the shit you put on after you get grease on your hands working on a car. That shit you scoop out.
Fucking Gojo?
That's what it is. It smells really good. That stuff smells like gasoline. I love that shit. I love it.
Goddamn Gojo.
I get my hands dirty on purpose, so my dad would make me use that shit when I was a kid in his garage. I'd be like, yeah, that smells good.
Was it the white stuff that
it smells like gasoline
smooth?
and citrus almost. Yeah.
It's the white stuff that's smooth.
Yeah.
I always had the
not the gritty shit.
That's what I had.
Yeah.
Though something
I remember
orange.
that too.
I forget the
the orange. He had that too. Yes,
that stuff.
He had that too. That was the case. The other shit couldn't get it off.
Yeah,
you need the little pellets in it. Yeah, he had like 2 things of it on the wall because my dad used to do body
The white
work,
stuff I loved. The orange was
so
no good.
So good. God, I remember that so clearly. This is cream deodorant safely stops perspiration. Arid is the largest selling deodorant. It does not rot dresses or men's shirts.
Rot
them. No white marks. Doesn't rot your shirt away.
Now they're talking about don't get white smudges on your black shirt. It would rot your fucking clothes.
You won't have any armpits in those shirts if you're not careful.
Think about what it's doing to your arms if it's doing that to the shirt, for Christ's sake.
Rotting it. Does not irritate skin. No waiting to dry. Can be used right after shaving. Instantly stops perspiration for 1 to 3 days. Prevents odor. A pure white, greaseless, stainless vanishing cream. Awarded approval, Seal American Institute of Laundering.
Oh.
And it says it's harmless to fabrics. 39 cents it's going for.
I need to see the list of ingredients of that.
Wow. Oh, God. Just chemicals that are all banned by every first world country today.
FDA says no. FDA says no. FDA says no.
No. 39 cents. Buy a jar today at any store selling toilet goods, also in 10-cent and 59-cent jars. So you got travel size
and big. Yeah.
And here's another thing, Jimmy. I don't know if this is you. There's a big headline in this ad for, quote, Orientals.
Oh.
So your precious.
The rug?
Well, no, they're talking to people. Orientals. It's like hey, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Your precious Oriental rugs are becoming more valuable daily. We want your rugs, you fucking.
Bring us your goddamn rug.
Bring us your rugs, you Oriental sons of bitches. Let's go. Do they need repairing or cleaning? You will be amply repaid in greater beauty and longer wear by having them hand cleaned, mended, and repaired if necessary. Call Burt Royal.
Burt Royal is going to repair fucking genuine Oriental rugs.
Only if you're Oriental. Oh, that's the only.
Maybe just for them. Asian
just for
rugs.
Them. Asian rugs.
Amazing loom work. He can do it.
He's going to fix it. Don't worry about it. And then when you got your rug in, because you're going to have to leave it there for a minute, so you won't have your rug at home, go out to the movies. Head over to the Majestic Theater in Reno here.
Oh.
Yeah, to see, it says, quote, air-conditioned correctly.
There's wrong ways?
Yeah, wrong way. The Too Hot, Too Cold, where you can go watch Shirley Temple. Quote, Shirley's rug-cutting jitterbug is the thing over this. Glamour girls, watch out. Here comes Shirley, the queen of teens. Because now she's not a little kid anymore. Now she's a teen.
Now she's a teenager.
Yeah, she's smooth, she's snazzy, she's sensational in her first big dancing, romancing, grown-up hit. She's like got a boy next to her.
Romancing
is like some teenage kid next to her. Boy. And how she drives the boys wild.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she's like early fucking Hannah Montana, I guess, is what they're going for here.
The first strip tease.
Yep. And then also, this is the name of the movie. Edward Small presents Shirley Temple in Miss Annie Rooney. That's the name of the movie. So go see that here. Here's an article from August 3rd, 1943 by Grantland Rice. And if you've heard of Grantland, there was a sports media company and stuff.
Oh.
They named it after him because Grantland Rice was like the most famous sports reporter there was back then. He wrote good stuff. So this is from the Akron Beacon Journal, and it said they talk about how good he was here and talking about here's one here. Well, we'll say this. Lightning hands. Yeah. Chase had an amazing pair of hands. They were chained or unchained lightning. No matter how badly the ball bounded, he always had a hand in the right spot. In this respect, he was a sleight of hand man. On a spring training trip throughout the South, we were walking along some street when Hal stopped in front of a fruit stand. He carried on some sort of conversation with the man in charge and then started on his way. After walking a block, he handed me 2 oranges and a banana and an apple, which he had lifted in front of the dealer's eyes. Standing at his side, I had never seen him make a motion with either hand. He stole a bunch of fruit.
Without seeing it. That means he's done this a lot.
He's just a scammer. That's what I mean. He's the type of guy who's just always got a scam. He'll steal. Yep. He could just steal fruit in front of a fucking guy. Wow. October 23rd, 1942 here. Here he is booked again. Here, this is a month after he's had a stroke and he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
He's now out and fine again. They were right. He's not incapacitated for long. He's instead booked on charges of driving while intoxicated again.
Second DUI.
He's just a drunk. He's a drunk bum now. He's a nice bum, but he's a bum.
Boy, yeah.
Police said Chase and a companion, a 31-year-old Enid Black, a stenographer, a woman he's got with him, half his age, was also taken into custody. Wow, what the hell did she do?
Hammered too?
They said he was driving erratically, and when stopped, told the officers, quote, they stopped him. He got out, and they were like, we're going to have to arrest you. You're obviously shit-faced. He said, quote, you shouldn't arrest a man as famous as I am. I'm Hal Chase, the baseball player. They're like, who?
We don't know.
I wasn't born yet when you played.
Yeah.
To me, if I was him, I would hide that fact from the cops because that just means, we know you're shit-faced and probably stealing my wallet out of my pocket as we speak.
There's no Google available back then, so they can't see that he's a scumbag.
They just booked him into jail here. They called him a 48-year-old salesman of Huntington Park, California.
Oh, boy.
That's what they said. He was, I guess... He was, just until recently, he was living at the WPA single men's camp.
What even is that?
That's the work program.
Homeless joint.
It's for hobos, essentially, that would be riding the rails if they didn't have some menial amount of work from the federal government works projects.
Yeah.
And so they had camps for these guys to stay at so they could work their 2 days a week. They were allowed to make a couple of bucks.
Separate the men from the women so that you don't have like rapes and stuff.
Yeah, and fucking babies from people who can't have babies. So, I mean, the guy is, going from being like a fucking New York Yankee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you're just a big deal in baseball or in the world and people know who you are. And, to now you're here. You got to feel bad for...
He's in a camp.
He is. I feel, yes, his son, he knew him for fucking 8 months, and who knows if he ever talked to him again.
Right.
I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy.
Too many.
All the bettors that lost money on his bullshit, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Hal Chase.
How is it possible?
From Adel, Iowa. He is Hal Chase, MPH BSN RN. Sounds like a bunch of nursing shit.
He's a nurse.
He's a nurse here. Registered nurse with 25 years of experience. So not our guy. Hal Chase, retired battalion chief at Santa Clara County Fire Department.
Oh, no.
That's where he went to college there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a connection there or what, but there we go. Hal Chase, civil lawyer, Petaluma, California.
Really?
So another guy at the Chase law offices as well.
Oh.
He says, quote, I'm directed and focused, and a focused attorney who never accepts a case that I wouldn't take through trial if necessary.
Yeah.
That's the guy here. There's an actor from way back in the day, Hal Chase. When Hal Chase first came to Arizona, Nogales backers of the International contended that he was not allowed to form an organized baseball. So they're talking about this. There's another guy, I guess. Hal Chase was an actor at the time.
Poor bastard.
So they're talking about how this guy at the time kind of got fucked over, and he died also. He spent 50 years in profession, played Muskogee 25 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. So, yeah, he's going to retire, I guess. Hal Chase, health facilities surveyor at State of Iowa Executive Branch.
Yeah.
Was also that guy. So lots of fun. No. July 19th, 1944 here. They're talking, and he's reminiscing, and they're asking him for some questions here. They say the greatest ball players I ever saw, that's easy. Pitchers, well, there was Christy Mathewson, old Pete Alexander, Walter Johnson, and Three Finger Brown. There's Ty Cobb, a fat guy named Ruth, and Joe Jackson in the outfield. Catchers, let's see now. Roger Breschanen, I guess I'd have to put Roy Schalk in there with Roger. Dutchman at short, Rogers Hornsby at second, Hans Wagner there at whatever, George Sisler at first. They talk about Tris Speaker. They said he was great, all right, but not in their class. They said, not bad. Now all you have to do is put Hal Chase in there in place of Sisler, and you have my team. There's people saying, an old ball player saying Hal Chase belongs on the all-time team.
Yeah.
He said, Hal said, no, leave me out of it. They was talking to him and another old ball player. And they said, how can you leave Hal Chase off any all-time list, any all-star team? He was the greatest, wasn't he? At least that's what I was always believed, and the musty records will back up that belief to the hilt. Hal Chase, one of the finest fielding first basemen to ever step on the diamond, leaned over and whispered, I'm just here on a little vacation, sort of a birthday celebration. You know, I'll be 58 in a couple days. Probably not.
No.
July 21st, to be exact. I feel pretty good, though. So, yeah, people are saying he was the best. They said that he's still interested in baseball as much as he ever was. He said, quote, I've seen about a dozen games this season, even went out to see Josh Gibson play the other day, the famous Negro League Babe Ruth, Josh Gibson. There's a hitter, one of the greatest of all time. He hit 2 home runs, and they were belts. Say if he played at the Polo Grounds 75 games a year, he'd hit 75 home runs. That fat guy was the greatest of all, of course. Nobody can come close to that Ruth. He was the greatest that ever lived, better than Cobb or anybody else. If Ruth had shortened up on that bat, he'd have hit over 400 every year. But Gibson comes as close to Ruth as you'll ever get.
Is that right?
So, yeah, that's how good Josh Gibson was. I always heard that. They said, yeah, he was right there. He said, Chase said, you know how Gibson happened to start playing pro ball? Well, one day at the old Pittsburgh Crawfords, were moving out of Pittsburgh in a bus. They happened to stop alongside of a Sandlot Diamond on account of a traffic tie-up. So they all took a look out the windows to watch the game in progress. There was a mighty loud crack, and a couple of seconds later, a ball bounced off the top of the bus, which was parked about 400 feet from the home plate. Oscar Charlestown, who managed the Crawfords at the time, got right out of the bus and hot-footed after the kid who had socked the ball. He signed the boy right on the spot, waited until he got home and got some clothes, and then took him along on the bus. That boy was Josh Gibson, just 16 years old. He's over 35 now, but he still can hit. So that's what they were talking about. I don't know. That sounds like a legend.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably not true, but it's a great fucking story.
Solid story. Hit a bus with the ball. Fuck.
Hit the teams. That's a great tryout. Oh, my God. They talk about Babe Ruth. He said that Ruth used to piss people off because he was so fucking good. Chase talked about a story which concerned Ruth and Leo DeRocher, who's like one of the craziest son of a bitches to ever play the game. Yeah. He said Ruth used to burn DeRocher. He'd say to Leo, anything you can hit, I can catch right in my teeth. Say, you can't hit for shit, I'm better than you, and fuck with him. So he said Chase still gets emotionally upset and the talk comes around to his final days as a player. So they talk about how he gets upset that he got kicked out of the game, that he's a disgrace and has a terrible reputation. So March 30th, 1947, Hal Chase seriously ill.
Oh, no.
Right after that, Prince Hal, they talk about he's seriously ill and he might not make it out of this.
Yeah.
So they say he lingers near death. So that is a couple days later, still lingering near death. Attendants at Memorial Hospital reported that the condition of the old-time baseball star remains unchanged. He'd been in serious condition from a kidney ailment and complications for a week. He retired from the major leagues in 1919. Those widely publicized brief French bathing suits never will become. What the fuck is that? That's the next thing that says.
What?
It goes right there, 1919. Those widely publicized brief French bathing suits, Speedo type things, never will become fashionable in America, says Elsa Schiaparelli. They are not stylish, she writes in the American magazine, and besides, they would never be allowed on our beaches.
A man's dying.
I would like to show you this. There is no break.
No.
There isn't even it's a paragraph, new paragraph, but there isn't even like any break in the type at all. It's one article under one headline. Look at
that. A man's clinging to life, and she hates the bathing suits.
Clinging to life. April 24th.
Mm-hmm.
He's still not doing well here. That's not good. Hal Chase says this. In the sporting news, they talk to him, and he says, I'd give anything if I could start in it all over again. What a change there would be in the life of Hal Chase. I was all wrong, at least in most things, and my best proof is that I'm flat on my back without a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sick and dying, and nobody gives a shit about him. He said, I am an outcast, and I haven't a good name. I'm the loser, just like all gamblers are.
There you go.
I'm the loser, he said. Oh, man.
I'm the loser.
He then ends up living with his sister in Williams, California, because he's just has nowhere else to go. May 18th, 1947, he dies. Yep, he's dead. Death came at 10:45 a.m. They attributed it to heart and kidney ailments complicated by age.
Wow.
He's like 60.
Yeah, but it's booze.
Yeah, it's that he's lived a horrible life.
Yeah,
he's eaten and drank shit forever,
Terribly,
and he's done. So they said he'd been in the hospital since March, and the end of Prince Hal, basically. So
it's about what your body can take. 60 years of living like shit, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's all, man. And they say that a guy here, Gil Badeau, he's a Los Angeles Dodgers scout and a guy who knew Chase and knew all about him. He said, quote, if you go back and look at the death certificate of the guys who played with Hal Chase, like look at everybody else who died around there, he said, you'll see that they list occupations like plumber, farmer, factory worker, things like that. Yet Hal Chase, even when he was 53 years old, listed in the Tucson City Directory his occupation as ball player.
Wow.
Yeah, Hal Chase thought of himself as a professional ball player for every one of his 64 years. The last article said he was 57, by the way.
Right.
So that's hilarious here. They said in recent years he lived with his sister. He seldom talked about baseball, which he did. He did a sporting news article, for Christ's sake. They said his trophies were gone. His scrapbooks were gone. His only memories, some of them unpleasant, were left with him. That is fucking sad shit. He said, Chase had said, quote, sure, I knew about that, about the fixing of the World Series. He said, but I was no squealer.
Oh, I don't tell on peeps.
So he said, I didn't tell on people. I just took what I had. He said, baseball was good to me. I guess I made $150,000 in all and legitimately in baseball, but I muffed my big chance. I guess I got a little too smart for my own good. So they said he's been in and out of the hospital. His legs were all fucked up. He's been hobbling around till recently, but recently he's been all messed up. In the last couple of weeks, he's been in comas for 36 hours 2 different times.
Jesus.
They said each time he rallied and came out of them with a wisecrack, but not quite. Now he's actually dead. And, he said he played his last game of baseball professionally in Williams, California in 1939. And he said it was just too fast for him. And it was a softball game.
Yikes.
He said that was enough here. He never got to play in the World Series, which was his ambition in life, he said.
Of course.
So, I mean, he could have maybe if he didn't throw a bunch of games. So who knows? So, I mean,
you did that to yourself.
You did it to yourself. That's very sad, but not quite as sad as what would happen if you're in the Lexington Herald here and it says, "Don't be a wish I had. Be glad you did. Start your baby chicks on Kentucky Queen starting shit." So whatever this is. Yeah. Kentucky Queen starting and growing mash. Feed for growing chicks. An abundance of vitamin A to guard against colds. An abundance of vitamin D for prevention of rickets. An abundance of vitamin G for rapid growth.
Keep your chickens without rickets.
Without rickets. No chicken rickets. No other food is needed from hatchlings to pullet age of 5 months. Just this shit. So get some of that. Also, you certainly want to stop in if you're in Lexington, Kentucky in 1947 on May 19th and see that the Lexingtonians, as it says here, are proud of the famous trumpet man, Billy Butterfield.
Oh, Billy.
He's just some pudgy blonde guy in a bow tie holding a trumpet.
Plays the trumpet.
Capitol Record hit band coming tomorrow night only. He's a former Transylvania college student who has gone to the top with his trumpet playing and fine band.
Transylvania.
Oh, yeah. He went to Transylvania. There's reservations on the phone here. You can get the mellow music of Bill Cross and his new band as well. The finest music in the bluegrass. So get in there. February 20th, 1948. He's lucky he didn't outlive her. Her sister dies, too. So his sister, who he was living with, drops dead as well.
Yeah.
So that isn't good. Miss Jessie Mae Topham passed away here. And, she's dead. So February 17th, 1952, there's an article here talking about Hal Chase and his legacy. And they said, why in a delay is a thing that says baseball fans throughout the country were greatly pleased to see those two fine outfielders, Harry Heilman and Paul Wainer, selected for baseball's Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, New York. But why the delay in naming the great California boy Hal Chase for the honor? Well, if you think that's a delay, wait till you see now. It's 75 years later. He's still not in. Is it because most of those making selections never saw the player perform? Or is it on account of some kind of prejudice against Hal Chase?
The gambling thing?
I wouldn't call that prejudice. I'd call it just, consequences for actions that you did, right? I think.
Cheating and such.
Yeah. It's like murdering a guy and go, they won't let me out of prison. It's a prejudice against me and my murdering. I don't know what it is. In the long history of baseball, the National League and American Leagues have had a long list of fine first basemen, but Hal Chase made plays around first base that others have never attempted. Years ago, Fred Tenney came out of Brown University to join the New York Giants and initiated a new technique on playing first, which was improved on and perfected by Hal Chase of the New York Highlanders, Chicago White Sox, and Cincinnati Reds. So the next time selections are being made for the Hall of Fame, let's hope that Hal Chase, the king of first basemen, is chosen.
Yeah.
Wow, that is something else. This is F.H. Hayes of the Pittsburgh Press. He says, I'll tell you about Chase. He was a picture ball player. You fellas today would call him a fancy Dan, whatever that is. You couldn't keep your eyes off him. This is the most old-timey guy ever. He fascinated you, but some performers look good doing nothing. That was Chase. Yeah, look good doing nothing. So, yes, he dies there. He is buried in the Oak Hill Memorial Park. You can still go see him. Wow. Section S, Block 39, Lot 3, Space 4 in San Jose, California. So if you live in San Jose, you're going to that cemetery, go take a peek at Hal, send us a picture at Crime and Sports. So do that. There is his gravestone here. It says that he, the beloved Mary J. Oh, that's his wife is there too, Mary J. So he was married at some point here. She died in 1925. What the fuck?
What?
Yeah, apparently he died. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Apparently
she died in 25?
I guess so. Somebody else. So you can't get enough Hal Chase. You can get on eBay the 1911 T205 Piedmont gold-bordered tobacco baseball card here. Hal Chase's baseball card. One of those old-time little tobacco cards. It's in decent shape for an old card. I mean, not like a mint condition for sales. $50.99.
Wow.
That sounds great. I'd love to have that.
That sounds very, very reasonable.
And the back of the card is cool, too. There's a little, things about him and stats, a couple of stats and everything.
Is that the only one you could find?
Nope. There is also here, Ian dug up here, 1915, American Caramel Company.
What?
That's who made it, American Caramel Company, which I think that might have been Hershey's before they changed, because
maybe
Hershey's chocolate used to be a caramel company.
Really?
And then at the World's Fair, he found chocolate and was like, well, how the fuck do you make that? Learn how to make it. And it sold better than caramel. So he fucking did that. So I don't know if that's a different caramel company or what, but this is the E106 Hal Chase here. It's $895. This is actually
that's a card?
It's actually graded. I'll show it to you. It's in great shape. Look at it.
I can't see that. What is
it's in. Oh, here. Sorry, my monitor wasn't turned enough for you. You got to roll.
Oh, wow! It's like it's a drawing though, because no pictures were around. That's wild.
Yeah, not a pic. Couldn't put it on a baseball card. They were all drawings back then. So
that's wild.
That's what it is. $895 is the buy it now. But I mean, it's an in good shape 1915 baseball card. Right. So even the commons are worth something on those. Sure. So you can get that. The back of that said, this card is one of a set of 48 leading baseball players in the National, American, and Federal Leagues. One card is given with every piece of baseball caramel manufactured by the American Caramel Company, York, Pennsylvania. I think it is. I think that's Hershey's.
Yeah, it's got to be them. Yeah.
Under the famous brand of PCW. So there you go, everybody. That is Prince Hal Chase. A nice bum.
Holy shit.
That is why way more story than I expected there to be there.
For a 100-year-old story? So many years?
He died 75 years ago, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
This was one where I was like, I hope I picked him out and I was like, he sounds like a real character, like a fun one. I hope there's enough to fill a couple hours. It's like, holy shit, he was such an asshole.
He's got a shitload of DUIs, too.
Oh, God, think about all the ones that weren't in the paper.
Right, yeah.
Like if he was at some town that, doesn't know who the fuck he is, didn't know he was a baseball player, like, Jesus Christ.
Or he just wobbled down the road not threatening life or property or anything. They're just like, fuck it, let him be.
Fuck it. Or ran into a wall, but they were like, I don't know, it's his car, fuck him. There you go. That's Hal Chase, everybody. If you enjoyed that or enjoyed any show you've ever heard of Crime and Sports, head over to whatever app you're listening on. Give us 5 stars. It really does help. We don't know why, but it helps drive us up the charts. So let's do that, Crime and Sports movement, you wonderful bastards. Do that. Also, you certainly want to follow on social media at Crime and Sports on Facebook and Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Find us, share the show, like, shit, comment, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Keep hanging out with us and doing everything like that. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is the website. Get tickets for Small Town Murder live shows. And, of course, Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder and Your Stupid Opinions merch. By the way, you listening to Your Stupid Opinions?
Give it a shot.
Fucking better be. If not, you're losing. It's not us. You're losing out because that shit's funny. I'm sorry. So check that out.
Like gamblers, you're the loser.
You're the loser. Yeah, we did a special Valentine's Day edition, which has a brothel and a weird sex swing and all sorts of crazy shit. So check that out and keep listening to those. Also, patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all your bonus materials. Right. Tons of stuff. We put out episodes like crazy, new ones every other week, one Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder. It's $5 a month or above. A cup of coffee, you immediately get a couple hundred back episodes of bonus stuff that's never been seen anywhere but Patreon, and then you get new ones every other week. This week, what you're going to get, you have access to it all. For Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about Paul Sasso.
Yeah?
Who's an owner of a WFL World Football League team in the 1970s, who is also a mafia guy. Yeah. Well, you can imagine how that worked out hilariously. So we'll talk about that. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about Natalia Grace. Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Is she a poor little disabled Ukrainian orphan, or is she an evil Cruella de Vil murderess that's waiting to kill children and women and people? And who knows? We'll find out what the truth is.
Bloodthirsty.
To the best of our ability. And we'll find out why her dad cries like that, because it's wild, or the adopted dad, Michael, there.
Yeah.
So we'll find all of that out and more. That's patreon.com/crimeinsports. And you get a shout out.
You bet.
When do you get that shout out?
Now.
Right fucking now. Jimmie, hit me with the names of the most wonderful people who would never, ever, ever bet on all of our games and screw everything up. Jimmie, hit me with them now.
This week's executive producer, Kyle Norweg, over there walking on the Tyne. Margaret Maggie Wadsworth and her long Bartley family lineage.
The Bartleys.
Her brother's name... He's a Bartley the Fifth, James.
Wow.
There's a lot of Bartley.
That's a small-town murder thing there, yeah.
And we've got a winner in the Bartley contest.
The Bartley sweepstakes.
We got to figure out.
No more Bartleys.
No, it took one day.
One day, the next day. Here's Bartley. We were like, all right, well,
just adopted Bartley. Here they are.
Hundreds of thousands of people. Someone must have been getting a puppy this week. You know what I mean? Out of all those people, the odds are someone had to
one
get
day. All right. Susan Turner, thank you. You're terrific.
Thank
Danielle
you.
Cormier, thank you. Alicia Podlasak Grant, thank you. Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, writer, more Stephanie Addis. Bobby Digital won the Fantasy League this year.
Jesus.
Congratulations, himself, huh? Bobby Digital.
The RZA took it home, huh?
Sure did. Rebecca Sorensen, happy birthday, Jessica Bailey, Janice Hill, Ellen Hayden, Kate Osgood, Kelly Ray Dixon, Kenneth Hatfield, Tim Smith, Megan W., Leah would know last name, Jesse Baker, Darius Gaddy, Alicia Saft, Sarah Duff, Chris Marble, Lauren Evans, Sandy Laura, Kim DeLucia, Michael Sissone, Viviana Cohen, Skull Beard would know last name, Laura would know last name, Melly Fry, McKenna Lanquist, Tara Eckert, Amanda Richardson, Megan Hillman, Julie Rio. How do you say Rious? Is that Rio? Rio. All right. Lenny Lenartz, Corey Giesbrecht, Coles Renee, Travis Shape, Penelope Suriel, the Robbie Sullivan, Trevor Rimmer. Oh boy. Cade, Cade, C-A-D-E.
Oh
that is two different words. Jonathan Juriaquek, Jureki, Wendy Friedland, Sarah Zemensky, Saoirse Erickson, the Ovarian Barbarian. Very funny.
The Ovarian Barbarian.
Randa Gates, Taylor Simmons, maybe. Elizabeth Cohen, Patch 686, Sherry Eisen, Jody Smith, Amy Adams, probably not that one. Sarah Lasher.
Sure it is.
It's got to be. Benjamin Heathstand, Lily Mongold, Summer Cohen, Alyssa Gates, Kim would know last name, Edmund Cantrell, Nancy Pace, Tommy Jr., Terry Curse, Sherry Rigari, Rigamortis, Andrea McAllister, Jay would know last name, Hannah Duckbill, Dylan Johns, Maria would know last name, Taryn would know last name, Mindy Lambert, Emma Warzencroft, Ann Picard, Lou M, Chris Hurd, Jack Morgan, Bailey Mitchell, Amy Woodward, Wrenching Rock, Ratch. Wrenching Ratch. Brittany would know last name.
Ratch?
Christina Elmblad. Ratch, R-A-C-H.
Ratch.
Rach. Maybe it's Rach.
It's not rash, though. We know that. Okay.
No, it's not a rash.
Okay. That's
But
weird.
I've gotten a wrenching rash.
it's a
Lindsay
wrench of a rash.
Chapone. Yeah, it's the brake cleaner. Michelle would know last name. Oh, and starting fluid. That shit does it too.
Oh, that'll burn.
It'll dry your skin out, motherfucker.
Fuck your world up, boy.
Oh boy. Michelle with no last name. Kelly Parker, Heidi Bondi, Brittany Early, Amy Cash, Jacqueline Osterman, Grant Metters, Wendy Normando, Dustin Purises, Hannah Branson, Samantha Allegedly
you're Samantha, but maybe not.
That's what I'm told. Natasha Sage Balsma, Kyle Percy, Matt Eberhard, got Eberhard? Is he Eberhard?
Forever hard.
He has two patrons. Thank you so much.
Why,
Matt,
thank you.
Or
Jesus.
Matthew. Duron
One for his
Stacy.
dick, because it's always hard.
He's Eberhard. Raz Mataz, Reagan B, Marie Jubenville, Ashley Parker, Jordan Miller, Miguel Cordoso, Les would know last name, Colleen Forbes, AJ Prime, Caroline Hall, Adam Voorhees, Tanner Pipkin,
Jason's brother.
Keith. Big brother.
Yeah. He's a little
Keith
ashamed.
L. Jeffrey Thompson. Trixie with no last name. Jacqueline Guzman. Danielle Steele. Probably not that one. I wish it was.
And
that
Trixie, I'm
filthy
sure it's
writer.
Mattel, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, too.
Probably,
Danielle
yeah.
Steele and everybody. We get it. Amy Adams, you're all coming for us this week. We
Big
understand.
fans. Joe
Big
Reeves.
fans.
Lily M. Seventh Falls. Tanner R. Tabitha with no last name. Fellows Farm. Sam Jocelyn. Melanie with no last name. Cassie with no last name. Brad Wharton. Angelina Kemp. Jesus Varela. Weta with no last name. Galveston John. Becky with no last name. Amariah Weingartner. Kathy Heslip. And all of our patrons. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, everybody, so much.
Unbelievable.
You fantastic bastards.
Every
we could
time.
not do it without you.
Yeah.
Thank you, honestly, from the bottom of our hearts. We make jokes, but fuck, man, thank you for all that you do for us. We really, really do appreciate it, and there's no joke there. So thank you very much. If you want to follow us as people on social media, you can find us at shutupandgivememurder.com. There's a drop-down menu. Links to all that shit.
Yeah.
Keep coming back and seeing us. We'll have more crazy stuff next week and into the future, live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.